Right. Now, the first thing I'm going to say, if you're not part of the Scrubs community and you don't want to sit through me doing all the housekeeping, talking to people, telling them how to donate, a couple of little stories that sometimes is 5 minutes, but sometimes it's 20 minutes. The pinned comment, I'll put a timestamp on it. You can go and click that and it will take you to right just as I start reacting to the video I'm going to react to. So if you don't want to sit through all that, you don't have to. Look at that. 11 years in this game. First time I've ever thought of that. I feel like a professional. Also, early doors, people. I mean, what is it? 2:30 in the UK? So, yeah, I shouldn't be doing this. I ended up at the doctor's. I'll keep it brief because a lot of you have read it on X and Telegram. But I was writing, so my missus has gone away for a week, 10 days. It's usually less than that. She can't hack it on her own out there. And to be honest with you, I can't hack not eating. So I don't mind when she comes back earlier. But I want to get the manuscript finished, which I will. But I was hard at it. Now I got sick at the start of the week, migraines, too much writing, and I'm putting together a 45-minute lockpicking training video. That doesn't sound like much, does it? But it's working out about an hour every 5 to 10 minutes. That's the wrong maths. I've just got that totally wrong. Let me work out. It's a lot of work. Anyway, Thursday night, my left eye was just closing. And I get that. I get it quite a lot because I've got astigmatism. But Friday morning, it was just like all puffed up and closed. And I thought, yeah, probably best not to just leave that. So I went to the doctor's and he had a little poke around. It was a bit tearful as well. It wasn't anything grotty, by the way. They were just tears, but not crying. Or maybe it was one eye weeping, my unconscious. And he said to me, what do you do for a job? I said, well, I run a couple of e-commerce companies. He went, what else? I said, I've got a couple of YouTube channels. He went, what else? I said, I write. He went, what else? I went, I watch movies, I read. He went, right. He went, a lot of that. So a lot of time looking at computers and words. I said, yeah. I said, but I wear glasses. And then he got me to do like a little daily blah, blah, blah. And he said, so you're averaging about 16 hours on the screen a day. I went, yeah. He said, you just can't do that. He said, and it's your body telling you that. He said, your body is telling you you can't do it. He said, what I'm going to recommend you do is 3 hours max in one sitting, then at least a 45-minute break before you do your next 3 hours, and no more than 9 in a day. That's not going to happen. That's just not, that's not feasible. I can't get everything I need to get done in that time. So what will happen is my left eye will explode again. Imagine it actually exploded. Just sitting there and it went. What I'll do is I'll find my limit. I'll work it out. I'll work it out. But the manuscript is so close. It's just a bit of tidying up, bit of here and there. First rule of self-publishing is not to do your own cover, but I've done a wicked cover. I'm probably going to go with it as well. What else have I got to tell you? Oh, yeah. When I do reaction videos, now most of you will have seen this if you get involved in the comments. But every reaction video I've ever done, including the Dragon's Den ones, there'll be half a dozen people in the comments. Why do you keep interrupting? I want to watch the damn video. Or you keep talking over it. I don't want to hear you. And I'm like, That's fair enough. You know, I might not be your cup of tea, but do I have to explain this? You know, the link to the actual video is in the description, as I always say. Or you could use your own mind and think, right, what's this video? Oh, he said that. So if I look for that on YouTube, it's weird. What I mean, come on, for Christ's sake. Oh, and there is I'll cut them a little bit of slack. I interrupt a hell of a lot, but that's because if you get a ban, if they say no, you can't show that, you've got a copyright claim on it. Part of the appeal process is telling them how much of your content, the ratio of your content to the source content. And mine's usually 5-1 me to source. So anyway, there's all that. We'll wait for a few more people to turn up because it is early. I haven't watched this video. I'll tell you a little bit about it though. I think most of you will know. It's where is it? Here we go. Hang on a minute. I've forgotten his fucking name. What's his damn name? Hang on. Sam. Hang on. Sam Richards, is it? Right, so Penn State University, I've told you this before, but if you haven't been here when I've done it, Penn State Uni, Sam Richards, his lectures are streamed live on YouTube, and they're left up on YouTube. Now, it looks like the authorities, the people above him, have said no comments, though, but they're there. Now, not only do I think every university should have to do that, I think it should be part of the legislation that if you're an educational institution, you have to stream at least, an hour a week of your lectures, just so that people can see what the kind of quality of your lectures are. You know, you're asking kids for what, $70, $80, $90,000, or in England, 50, 60, 70, whatever it is now. Yeah, show them what you're getting. And if you're proud of your lectures, if you're proud of your lecturers, you'd want to do that. You'd think that, wouldn't you? You know, as a writer, I'll put my writing wherever I fucking can, because I'm proud of it and I want as many people to see it as possible. But these universities, I'll tell you what, I just looked over there and I just got a slight feeling of a migraine. If I get that aura, people, it's curtains. No, that'll be embarrassing for you. But you'd think that universities would want to show their wares. It's like an advert, isn't it? Oh, look how thorough. Look how rigorous our debates are. Look how engaged our students are. But as far as I know, Penn State are the only ones who do it. You get a couple like there was a series from Harvard, but they're not really like seminars involving the students like Sam Richards ones. They're just world famous professional thinkers. And it might as well just be them in a room. It's a lecture rather than a seminar involving students. So I think it's quite cool that Sam actually does this. He does it, by the way. He chooses to do it. And the one we're going to look at today is called "Can We Talk About Harmful Rhetoric in Class?" Now, this is obviously on the back of what happened, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. But it amazes me, from someone who went to university, art school and university, for 7 years, and remembering what it was like. there was nothing you couldn't do or say. Literally nothing you could. I spoke with my art teacher once about putting on pieces of work. Like, my art teacher cleaned everyone's feet in the first lecture. He went round the room with a bowl of water and a few sponges and some I don't know what that stuff's called. Bubble bath. That's so 70s. And he got everyone to take their shoes and socks off, and he cleaned and dried the whole room's feet. And at the end, because that took about an hour, at the end he said, look, this year, if we're going to get anywhere, I want you to trust. You're going to have to trust me to an extent. And that doesn't mean believe me, but there has to be a certain amount of trust. That was the end of the lecture. It was amazing. I was like, yes. And in our seminars, and a seminar is where you have a lecture and you have a lot of students, and the lecturer puts forth the proposition, which then people sort of support or debate essentially, and it would get really intense, really heavy subjects, and people would start talking about their own experiences of really heavy subjects, and other people would start defending them, and you'll be like, hang on, I'm not saying that he didn't blah blah blah. This isn't about him. It's about and there'd be nearly fights. So people were pulled off people. It was engaging. It was intense. It was learning how to think critically. They didn't teach you at the art schools more than Leeds, to be honest, more than Leeds Uni, but they didn't teach you stuff. They taught you how to think for yourself. That's what Sam Richards tries to do. Now, if you're a regular around this channel, and I've seen a few names in the chat you'll know that these students are, I'm sorry to say it, dumb as fuck. They're embarrassing. They're he does his best to wring out of them some kind of passion for the subject. Like, if you're at university studying sociology or something, which is largely Sam's area, if you're going to spend the rest of your life in that area, you're going to have to enjoy it. You're going to have to care about it. You're going to have a passion. And these kids are like, I think that, it's like, well, you see my videos. I watched one of his the other day about Charlie Kirk, and he kept trying to get them away from talking about guns, and they couldn't. One of the girls, he was trying to get them to talk about implications for the future based on the celebrants and response to Kirk's assassination. But rather than just say to them, aren't you scared? He tried to get them to sort of say, I find this quite frightening because it is frightening. It is a concern. We've had at least a decade of half of the American politicians telling the other half that they're national socialists and that they're fascists. Punch a Nazi, and that ramped up pretty quickly, didn't it? And so there's implications. And these people, this girl, after about 30 minutes of Sam Richards trying to get them to forget about guns, you can kill someone with a fucking 6-inch nail. You can kill someone with your bare hands. You can bite someone's throat out. Forget about that. Let's think about, and he kept trying to be as vague as possible because he's trying to get him to think for himself. In the end, after about 30 minutes, he had to say, aren't you scared? Aren't you concerned? And one girl said, she said, what scares me is that other people might stand up and decide to carry Charlie Kirk's message on, carry it on. She was scared that him dying, becoming a martyr for the right, meant that other people might go and say the things that he said. It was shocking. I nearly done that video, but I thought it'd be better to do one that I hadn't seen. Right, we got 46 people here. I knew it'd be low numbers. Look at that, looking out for my reputation. I knew it would be low, being middle of the day and that. But don't worry, people. It's not just me who's here. Oh, I know you were worried. Watch what happens.
Hello.
Hi. Hello.
Hello.
You always come in rather camp.
Hello.
Yeah, you didn't need to do it twice. Right, how do I get me and you solo layout? No, it's all going to go wrong now. There it is. It's gone wrong again. Why does it do that? Oh, man. Is any of us on the screen? No, just me.
I'm on it. Yes, you should.
I'm sorry, people. My computer doesn't work. It doesn't do this properly. What? No, just. I'm so sorry. Right, hang on. I know I can sort this out. I can remove Packer and then add him. Yeah, we're going to have to stay like this, people, I'm afraid. But you're not going to see us anyway because it's going to be the screen. Right, I think someone started the Grift. Zeitgeist, bless you, sir. Let's kick this off. Lovely, absolutely lovely. $14.99 Australian dollars. Thank you, mate. Aprasha Kanatu. People, throw your loose change at me. I'll take it. You've got Buy Me a Coffee and Entropy at the top of the YouTube chat. Buy Me a Coffee is a good one. Oh, that reminds me. Packer's about to indicate a QR code. Look at him thinking. Look at him thinking.
Is it even now? It's there.
There you go. You hover your phone camera above that and you can donate on there. They take the least money away from me and I send you a 30-second video, not a pre-made one. It's especially for you. I'm gonna change the weather. Yeah, so you've got Buy Me a Coffee and Entropy at the top, and you've got the super chats like Zeitgeist just done at the bottom. All Aprasha Kanatu, obviously. It would be nice to get some. It turns out publishing novels costs a fortune. But if I do use my own cover, I'm saving about 500 to 800 quid. But anyway, that's the Grift out of the way. I don't think we've got anything else to cover. This could all fall down. Packer saw me doing the balancing act of this. It's like on a fan and a chair and a stool and a Buddhist shrine. And yeah, it's not great. So, and because I've got a fan over, I usually have the fan behind me, but now I've got it across the room. But that causes that to wobble slightly. And over the course of this, see, look, 20 minutes. That's why I said I'll timestamp it so that people can just crack on and get on with it. Hopefully I won't have to wear my earplugs. If there is an echo or anything like that, let me know. I haven't seen this. We'll skip the preview because we don't want any. I think we should just get into the guts of it. Now, just going back to what I was saying about when I was at university, the fact that this is a video from Penn State, a decent university in America, can we talk about harmful rhetoric in class? Now, I haven't seen this video, but you can see where that's going. The argument against that will be discussing rhetoric that's harmful might spread it. There might be people in that class who actually go, well, now you said it like that, I actually believe what he said. Who decides what harmful is obviously another question. I mean, of course you should be able to talk about anything at university. That's what a university is about. It's where you go. It's a place that was established for learning. And how do you learn? You challenge your ideas. And it's quite difficult to challenge your own ideas. It's a lot easier to have other people challenge your ideas. So why don't we build institutions, get people in there who've been through that process, and they can co-facilitate and facilitate young people on their journey to be critical and free thinkers. And we get to the state where one of the best lecturers in America is actually having to discuss whether you can talk about harmful rhetoric in class. What a mess. As a like a barometer of the state of Western civilization, I think academia is really important and really interesting. You know, it's not an insignificant measure of how far we've fallen. I remember being about 9 years old and a girl down my road who I quite fancied, Lynn, her name was, and she'd got into university. She was the first person I'd ever known. And everyone in the street was talking about it. Oh, you know old Lynn Downing, she's going to university. And then you'd go down and see Candy and Mick, and you'd be down there, and you'd be going, have you heard about Lynn? Yeah, oh, she's off to university. No, she's moving up there. She's moving up there. And they'd be like, what, you think she's going to get a train to Manchester every day? Of course she's moving up there. Even at 7, I was like, hey. But then, of course, they changed from intelligent students to clients. Once you started paying, well, you're a client now. You don't have to be clever, and you have to do what the clients say. I've got a mate who's a lecturer in the UK, and he said more than 2/3 of his class are East Asian, Chinese, essentially, because they pay the most. And it's a double blag, really, because the universities take them because they pay the most. And he said half of them can barely speak English, but they're also getting blagged because they've still got this idea that you can go to England and get a top education. And you know, if you've seen any of these debates at Oxford, which is meant to be like one of the top educational institutions in the world, they're not that bright. They're not that bright, not that intelligent. They repeat things they've been told round and round and round. So I've cut out the preview. I'll take it back a little bit so that we don't just get straight into. So here we go. Sam Richards, Penn State University. Can we talk about harmful rhetoric in class? Excuse me. I shall share the screen and the audio. Let me know if there's an echo, and I'll put my earbuds in, but I'd rather not. I don't know why. Just don't want to. Can't be asked. Steve's off to fit a radiator. Tell him to come to your house and fit you one. I think so. All right, let me just get up to date with the chat. Where are we? Hello, Pizzle. How are you, son? No, they're not clever. Hello, blogs. Is a STEM system for the art or the arts? You wouldn't pay for communist propaganda. You get that for free. Bill, I made a video a couple of years back about STEAM. So we know it used to be STEM, science, technology, engineering, and maths, or math, as the Americans say. It's now STEAM, science, technology, art, engineering, and maths. That was the leftist way of stopping universities breaking off into pure STEM subjects. So you'd have a university that only done STEM. But they stopped that. So that even if you're studying something like molecular science, you still have to get in that commie indoctrination liberal arts lark. Right, here we go. Let's see how this works. Hopefully it'll be all right. You can probably hear that racket from outside, but who knows? So yeah, remember, I haven't seen this, so it'll just be, let's see how it goes. So there's about 700 people. What's the time? How long have I been going? 27:26. Oh, I remember that. So there's about 700 people in the audience, and he asks for people to come down and take part. So these three have volunteered, and let's see what they've got to say. This is the end of the
so the topic is, what should I not say in here?
The purpose of these discussions are,
First of all, admittedly, they're nervous. Any repetitive movement in a human being is self-comforting. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It's the reason human mothers rock babies across all cultures, whether it be in a hammock, whether it be in a pram, whether it be in their arms, however. But intellectually immature people continue to do it. We've all got a mate who's got the old vibrating leg. Let me know in the chat. One will do. We've all got a mate. I would say about, we've got 56 people in here. There's probably about 10 people in the chat who do the old vibrating leg. They're in a cafe and they got a leg on the go. Just brrrr. I always call it. I just say to them, I go, why are you doing that with your leg? And the mad thing is, because it's a defense mechanism already. They don't have to think about it. They just go, dunno. And then they're like, whoa. They shock themselves. Why'd you do that? Dunno. And then they're like, hey, I never thought about it. And then you go, yes, you have. Because they know they do it. But so yeah, any repeated motion is self-comforting. He's 17, 18. He's in front of 700 people. He knows it's going live. On the internet, so it's kind of understandable, but it's certainly moving and improving.
So the topic is, what should I not say in here?
So there you go from Sam. The topic is, what can I not say in here?
The purpose of these discussions are, in my view, to figure out what things are good, bad, what should be supported in.
Incredible confidence, but didn't answer the question. Why didn't he answer the question? Because he didn't listen to it. He'd already prepared this monologue. The question was, what can or should I say in here? What can't I say in here? And then he goes on to talk about the purpose of the lectures. Now, it might sound like a small thing, but that's what separates an idiot from someone who can hold a debate together. So when you are debating, don't sit there planning your next monologue. Give your interlocutor, give them the respect they deserve, because it will make you stronger. Because then you can tell them what they said, and then you can respond to what they said, and they can't say, I didn't say that. So listen again.
Topic is, what should I not say in here?
What should I not say in here? Listen to the answer.
The purpose of these discussions are.
The purpose of these discussions. Now, he may go on to answer the question, and then I won't look too bright myself, but I think he'll talk himself in a spiral, and it will be, what did a behavior panel call it? Fading facts, where you just get quieter and quieter until you sort of disappear.
In my view, to figure out what things are good, bad, what should be supported in that the good faith discussions like these can be used as a platform in order to posit opinions that simply are bad, like
Or wrong.
or wrong.
I mean, there was at least 6 propositions there. He tried to cover all bases and kind of managed not. Yeah, exactly, Bill. It was just waffle. 42. Hello, mate. He says you cannot pick someone's argument if you haven't heard it. That is the part the left miss. You've nailed it. Absolutely. Anyway, Sam Richards there
Or wrong. Simply
interrupts him and tries to help him.
are bad, like
Or wrong.
It's amazing. Check out Bella agreeing. Because he's been talking for quite a while, she assumes he's making sense. So she nods. She's like, yeah. But I guarantee if you said to her, what are you agreeing with? She'd probably say something similar to him. Not much, essentially. Check her little nod of the head, the one on the right.
opinions that simply are bad, like
Or wrong.
or wrong.
I got a
And
perfect one.
with the this purpose of discussion as a thing, as a medium to discuss what is good and what is bad. Some people may bring up topics that are purely used to posit an opinion that is wrong or bad.
Or harm.
Right, it just come up that this was streamed on the 2nd of September. Charlie Kirk was the 9th of September, wasn't it? So I got that wrong. I'm just calling that. Hello, Ams. How are you? Good to see you, son. Yeah, it's just a nonsense. So Sam has to, try and get him back down onto something that might make sense.
Harmful to
Or harmful,
somebody.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, so it's amazing work from Sam Richards. I mean, I don't particularly like Sam's politics, but I do think he's a good lecturer. But after all of that, he summarizes. Right, let me tell you something. I've done a lot of group therapy in my time in drug rehab centers. And I became my NA sponsor, bless him, who stood by me for nearly 30 years now. And I haven't been the cleanest of sponsees. He was the owner of that rehab. And, we've become really good friends. And I said to him once, I was talking to him about group therapy. And, they'll have a facilitator in there who's the top therapist. They'll have a co-facilitator. And I said to him, why don't you interject when people are talking shit? When people are going up, in group therapy, you get people try and protect people. Like when someone's really under it, and they're really struggling and they're usually crying and it's fucking painful. It's hard to watch. And some people will dive in and try and protect them. Like they'll hand them tissues and you'll see facilitators say no and they'll push the tissues away. And you'll see other people dive in and try and steer the conversation somewhere else because they're trying to protect them, but they're also trying to protect themselves. And so I was talking to, I don't want to say his name because he's quite well known, but I was talking to this fella and he said to me, the reason it looks like we're not doing much work, he says, because most of the work of the facilitator, the therapist in group therapy is to get the peer group talking. He said, because when you've got 4 or 5 people who've been through drug abuse or whatever you're in rehab for, when you've got 4 or 5 in a group of 10 saying to you, you are quite selfish. From what I've heard of you, from your life story, the way you behave around this place, you are quite arrogant and you're quite selfish. When you've got 4 of your peers telling you that, I've got a mosquito on the go. When you got 4 of your peers telling you that, it's fucking powerful because you've got 2 options. You say, no, you're all wrong. All of you are wrong. Or you can take it on board and you sort of say, well, all right, if four or five of you think it, this is something I'll have to have a look at. Whereas if a therapist, if you were to go in there, all take your chairs, and a therapist was to go, right, Chris, I think you're quite selfish. I'll just go, well, I think you're an idiot. I think you're stupid. I think you're wrong. And that's why Sam Richards in these lectures doesn't tell them the answers, but because of the state of academia, because of the state of their what in England we'd call secondary and primary and infant education, they haven't got it. He has to really wring it out of them. And at the end of that bloke's, what was it, 2-3 minute? It probably was less than that, actually, monologue. You'll hear Sam summarize something essentially that kid did not say.
In opinion, that is wrong or bad.
Or harmful to
Or
somebody.
harmful, yes.
Yeah.
There you go, or harmful to someone. So that's what what Sam's done is steered it. So now we're talking about harm. We're talking about this debate and harm. He didn't really get that kid to say that, but he's sort of done like a hypnotist trick. He's made it look like that's what that kid was saying, which is more powerful for the students.
I mean, like some examples of these, I mean.
The problem is now, though, he's encouraged this bloke to carry on. And my guess is it won't go too well.
No, I'm going to give a really good example.
Okay, no.
There you go. He just interrupted him. Incredible.
Bella, do you have one?
One example I would say is probably politics is the biggest one. I feel like a lot of people use politics as a segue to kind of just insult people. Politics is something that everyone has their own opinions on, and that's something that we have to, respect. But when people start to bring in, I guess, viewpoints and opinions that are just downright like hurtful to other people just to kind of prove that like they're right and they're thinking and that their side of politics is the only right side, I think that's where a lot of conversations start to get heated because everyone's they just want to prove their point right and they don't want to hear anyone else. So they just start attacking character instead of bringing up facts.
Okay, listen, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know what?
Yeah, I couldn't follow that either. Again, at least 5 or 6 different propositions, which didn't end at a conclusion. So old Sam Ricardo has just interrupted her. Zeitgeist. Chrissy's been a member for 50 months. Fair play, Chrissy. Thank you very much, Chrissy. It's an honor to have had you on the firm for so long.
They just start attacking character instead of bringing up facts.
Okay, listen, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you know what snowflake is?
Yes.
Would you consider yourself a snowflake?
I mean, no, but I feel like some people would consider me as a snowflake.
Just by nature of the fact.
What an interesting reply. I'm not a snowflake, but some people would consider that I am. You have to ask yourself, well, let's not get into that. Livy's been on the firm for 13 months. That's remarkable. Oh, I also want to thank Jethro Hetero. He bought I'll have to talk to you about that again. He bought a Scrubs brick the other day. That's the other grift, by the way, people. I'm building an house, most of you know this, out in the jungle. And for 20 quid, you can join now the huge Scrubs wall where you get your name on a brick or similar building material. We've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm going to estimate it 10, 20. 30. We've now got over 40 people. There's the books. So if you donate 20 bond, and Jeffro Hetero bought me 10 coffees, And yeah, fair play, Jeffro. Much appreciated. He got his video reply. Chris is donated as well. That's absolutely lovely. Thank you, Chrissy. Excuse me. And thank you for being on the firm for 50 months. It's been longer than that. Right. So back to this. So she doesn't consider herself a snowflake, but she thinks other people do.
Just by nature of the fact that you just said what you said.
Correct.
Okay, so here, I'm going to give, but are you saying that? Or here, I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give the three of you a really good.
Again, check out the way, against all the odds, Sam wants them to think critically. He doesn't want to teach them answers. But God, again, I haven't seen this, but I've seen a lot of his videos, and it's always like this. It's such a struggle.
Example. So, immigrants.
So, by way of analogy, I'm going to tell a story, and you might be able to interpret that, and then give it back to me using different words. That's essentially what this is.
I'm going to give the three of you a really good example. So, immigrants. Undocumented immigrants. So the United States is not the only nation in the world that has undocumented immigrants. Everybody does. People cross over borders and they find ways to sneak in or get into other countries in some nefarious way. They overstay visas. They
for that audience.
Do all sorts of things and they decide, hey, I'm going to stay there. So this is not just a U.S. thing, okay? Iran right now, if you study, Iran's dealing with undocumented immigration. Lots of Afghans, lots of Pakistanis, lots of Syrians. Like they're really struggling to decide what are we going to do with all these people who are undocumented here, right? So they're in the same position. Okay? When our leadership starts talking about undocumented immigrants in the United States who are violent and committing crimes and committing all the crimes and committing so much violence and committing all of these things, the dangerous undocumented immigrants, and they use that in that way, it's like you're amping up the rhetoric in ways that are...
Well, and this is why I said I don't particularly like Sam's politics, because let's not forget they've also already broken the law. Well, I mean, you all know this, but they've broken the law. There's ways of getting in legally. And when he says... when he says that America's not the only country, I could name a few other countries where if you tried that, you'd be lucky to get out alive.
Really not just problematic, but first off, that are problematic, but are also mean and are also wrong. Undocumented immigrants everywhere in the world have the lowest crime rates. And that doesn't take a rocket scientist or a brain surgeon to figure.
And he's completely wrong, because they are already criminals by virtue of getting into the country without documents. I mean, come on, Sam. How can you say undocumented immigrants are among the lowest crime rates? By virtue of not being documented, they're all criminals.
You're out. If you're undocumented, you want to hide. Man, you don't want any connection to law, to the law enforcement, to the authorities, or nothing. And across the board in the United States, undocumented immigrants have the lowest crime rates of people in this country. Okay?
What, per capita?
Now, just because you see the headline of the news about this guy that murders a young college student down in South Carolina or North Carolina or Virginia, wherever it was, which is horrific and terrible. It's like, oh my God. But we're not interested in this class in singular examples. This is a sociology class. We're interested in the trends. So that would be a perfect example of just wrong information. That's who's it problematic for?
Say again?
What's that? Who is it problematic for?
Here we go. So Sam realized he was then just feeding them his ideas. His very suspicious and problematic, in my opinion, ideas. And he realized that. Yeah, he realized that. So he suddenly realized, whoa, I've got to turn this into a question. Otherwise, I'm just telling them what I think. So let's see where they go with this.
Say again?
What's that? Who is it problematic for?
Who is it problematic for? Let's see what they say.
Like when people put that narrative out there.
Who is it problematic for?
Why? How is it problematic?
It's problematic for the people that are affected, the illegal immigrants that are.
This geezer is saying what he thinks Sam wants him to say.
Through this use of radicalization of the populace, are thrust out from their communities, their children, and also the communities that they were in, which they may have been an integral part of in many ways.
Hey, wait, am I?
Not related to what they're talking about. You know, yeah, okay. How are you thrust out of your community if you're sent back to your home country / community?
Hang on. That's a leftist. That's like a leftist liberal response to that question. All right. So
yeah, it really is. Yeah. Look how happy he is. Look how happy he is that he's been told that was a leftist liberal response. Now, it is interesting. I hope you can see this. Look at this bird in the middle. It's a very peculiar response. I would say politically, she agrees with him. I'd say politically, she agrees with him. But she doesn't like the fact that in front of 700 people live and the entire internet, Sam Richards has just said that is a leftist liberal response. And the glee on his face has disturbed her. I would suggest, because he's winning in these three people here performing education. You know, they're not actually learning anything here. This isn't working. Sam has had to feed them answers so far. Nothing they've said has made me think. It's just made me confused. But there's a fascinating thing going on here between, you know, it's like his mum has just said, "You're my favorite son," and there's like 5 other brothers, and this is the firstborn here, just going, "What?" You know, she's really not happy. I'm going to take it back to see at what point she pulls that face.
That's like a leftist liberal response to that question. All right.
Like already she's pursed her lips. I think she starts waggling her legs as well, self-comforting. And you know, when I talked about repeated motions of self-comforting, and we all do it to an extent, why is she self-comforting? What is comfort? It's how you stop feeling uncomfortable. So why is she uncomfortable? Because he's just given Sam Richards a nice shiny red apple. That's what it seems like at the moment. I'm not sure if it was her, but I noticed a little bit of leg wagging, and that self-comforting didn't quite serve its purpose. And that's when her face let it out. Almost contemptuous, her face. I'll try and pause it again. I just want to see her legs go again. Not like that.
Hey, wait, hang on. That's a leftist.
There you go. So his foot's going. Jesus, man, what is this? His foot's going, her legs are going. He thinks like he's the star boy, and she absolutely hates him. Like Guy said, she's ethnic and she's confused that how a Jew can be left here. I wasn't going to say anything along such lines, but there you go. Yeah, no, hello, Vil, now. Nice to see you. They're not, they may be drama students, but they're sociology students, but they are certainly performing education without a doubt. That's why I'm looking at these, these giveaways. But he's shaking his foot, she's wiggling her legs, and then she's going to look at him with a scowl.
That's like a leftist liberal response to that question. All right.
First lips.
So like...
And old Bella over here, Bella has felt this all her life. Bella's always been left out. Bella's always been left out. You know, this one's scratching her fingers or whatever. He's looking. The reason why I've got a mosquito here, and I'll tell you what, these Cambodian mosquitoes, they don't get you once. I'll be covered in them in a minute if I don't get it. There's so much going on here. There's 4 people in the shot, and poor old Bella, she's just on the sidelines. Let's see where this goes. It's only a 16-minute video, people. I've been told by my doctor not. Hello, Jedi. How are you, me old mucker? Oh, Jedi, you've just reminded me. Hello, Pags. You've just reminded me. I just want to thank all the Scrubs investors. I got so many emails. If you're part of the Scrubs investors, and every one of them says, please don't make this public. They just don't want their names attached to it. But the stock market, since I started tipping the likes of Palantir, which is like an Nvidia and SoFi, some of these stocks are up over 1,000%. I got so many emails this week because it's at all-time highs. Even all the index funds, I told people, I suggested you might want to have a look at index funds. They're at all-time highs. The last 3 years has been a mad bull run. And I think I got about 5 or 6 emails in the last week, people saying, I just want to thank you. And it's not on me. They took the risk. But a lot of people have made a lot of money. If you have been investing and you haven't sent me an email and you want to let me know in the chat that you've done well, do so. Because it's a great way of making money. It really is. And, kids are eating are taught this stuff when they're 14, 15 years old. The likes of me, who went to a state comp, I had 30 minutes in my whole 5 years at that, 6 years at that school. I had 30 minutes careers advice. I told her I wanted to be an artist. And she sort of went, well, that's not really, likely. I got the Moz. I think I did anyway. Oh, yeah, look, I got it, look. Can you see it? You little bastard. And then she said to me, what does your dad do? I said, well, he used to be a foundry man when he was cool, but now he's a painter and decorator. And she went, artist, painter. Why don't you work with your dad? And that was all the advice I got about career and money in my secondary education. And if you go to a decent school, they'll be teaching you about your ISA and your investing when you're 14, 15 years old. How do I know that? Because people have told me. Hang on a minute. Buster Brook. Are you involved in SoFi? People, I was buying SoFi, not a lot. I'm not rich anymore. I used to be before I spunked it all. But that's what money's for in your 30s and 40s, though, isn't it? But I was buying SoFi. I got some at $7, some at $9. It's currently, I think, about $28. I've got a mate who's like a millionaire. And I said to him, SoFi. I think I told you this a couple of weeks ago. And he sold his whole portfolio and put it all on SoFi. Paid about 13 quid a share for it. It's now $28 a pop. And I jokingly said to him, what's my percentage of that? And he was like, ha, ha, ha. And I was like, yeah. Anyway, back to this mismatch. JP says 6 years at the comp, Dartford was way posher than Grays. I stayed on a year, John. I stayed on a year to do my art A-level.
All right.
All right, I'll take it back a bit because I did go off course. And by the way, I do check the stories and the entropy. If anyone donates over there, I do check them, so you'll get your moment of glory on the screen. All right, where are we? All right, I've just taken it back a bit. Here we go. So Sam interrupts him because he's talking rubbish. Watch all their mad movements.
Integral part of in many ways.
Hey, wait. Hang on. That's a leftist. That's like a leftist
Look at his foot. Look.
Liberal response to that
Look at her legs. Bella crosses hers.
question. All right. So all right. You would give the same one. Give me another reason why it's problematic.
Right, do you notice that he's now got it. He's now simply asking them what's problematic about talking about harmful rhetoric in class. And not only have none of them challenged it. Now, why wouldn't you challenge it? Why wouldn't you say, hang on, we're assuming here that it is problematic? I mean, Sam might take them down that route, but they're all just assuming it is. So when he says to Bella here, give me another reason why it's problematic, she's just going to make one up. She's going to make one up. Now, when we make things up, what do? We repeat things we've heard. That's not critical thinking. That's not critical distance. If you don't have an answer to that, critical thinking would suggest you'd say, I haven't got a reason why it's problematic. I think that's what university is for. It's a place, dare I say it, a safe place where we can have these conversations. Cast your votes now on whether Bella, she might question it. I haven't seen it. Or she might just want to score points like our little 4B2 on the end there.
I was just gonna say it's
Wait, hang on. Hang on.
I've got to. I don't know whether he's adjusting his earpiece or he's realised he's got to tap things back in the direction it needs to go for them to get anything out of it.
You would give the same one. Give me another reason.
Oh, very interesting. I missed it. When he says to her, you'd give me the same one, that means you'd give me the same answer. It's very quick. It's a micro expression. Watch her frown. It's very quick, but it's a bit like she's saying, why would I? What, am I just another sucker on the vine? That watch. It's very quick, but focus on her. When he says, you'd give me the same one, by one he means answer, but it's very quick, but she doesn't like that. So this could be interesting. It depends how strong she is. Does she want to score points for her lecturer, or does she want to have a debate? Let me know in the chat if you see it.
All right. You would give the same one.
There you go. I caught it. Look at that face. You would give the same one. You would give the same answer. Hello, Sufist. How are you, son? Look at that face. She's not happy about that. I'll take it back. I'll take it back a little bit. Oh. All right, here we go.
You would give the same one. Give me another reason why it's problematic.
Her first response was not enjoying being talked to like that. She should have stuck with that. But because of the way these people are educated, her truth, her reality, what she actually thinks, she feels has got no value here. Because he said to her, he didn't say to her, tell me why it's problematic. He said, give me another reason why it's problematic. That's not the same question as, is it problematic? And it's interesting that she pulled that face. And I think there's a very slight battle in her mind as, hang on a minute, you're assuming I'm going along with this. And then she was at a crossroads, and it was like, where am I going to go? Am I going to carry on performing, or am I going to poke the bee's nest? Almost certainly, she's going to carry on and perform education, but she might not.
I was just going to say,
Wait, hang on. Because the people who don't think that's a problem, they didn't even listen to Gavin. They're just like, dude, you're just this radical leftist. We don't give a damn what you say.
Really interesting. So Sam knows there's plenty of people in the audience who don't think it's a problem, because it isn't. They're the right ones. That in both ways, they're right wing and they're correct. But that's interesting. He's actually potentially given her, what's the word I'm looking for? Permission to perhaps, I'm not going to read it, but Hello Right News Network. What is it with blokes? I mean, I don't think I haven't been thinking it, but I talk too much about banging birds on this channel. Let's see where she goes with it.
Speak to them. Give them something that...
okay, here.
Oh, hang on.
We don't give a damn what you say. Speak to them. Give them something that...
okay,
Right, so he's asked her to speak to the people who think the fella on the left is wrong.
here's my thing with illegal immigration and everything. No one.
Which isn't what he asked you. This is what I mean about having to, if you're in a debate with these people, and imagine you've just had the conversation you've had, you've even had the facilitator say, talk to the people in the audience who believed that the previous speaker was wrong. Talk to them. And she has defaulted to immigration. Why? Because I would guess about 40% of her college education is about immigration, is about that kind of thing. So she's been fed information so she can repeat it. Again, not critical thinking, just repetition.
Okay, here's my thing with illegal immigration and everything.
So you're going back to something we were talking about a couple of minutes ago. Great.
No one that I guess is for, I'm not even going to say for illegal immigration, is denouncing the fact that they came here illegally. It's never an argument that, yeah, they didn't come here legally. It's the fact that maybe they can't. They are in certain situations. And I'm never saying that, it's easy to come into the US. It's very hard for a lot of people, especially.
As it should be, because a lot of people sacrifice their time and their labor, which are limited resources. Everyone's going to die. They might have children and they might have a husband or a wife. And they're working every hour God sends to give money to a state that despises them, that doesn't work for them, that works for the Federal Reserve, which is as federal as Federal Express. And when people can just jump over the border and get an house and money and all the other stuff that comes with it, that might be why it should be difficult to get into the United States?
People that are native, don't speak English, everything like that.
It's difficult because they don't speak English. I am sorry.
But I think it's very problematic just for people that want to come to the U.S. in general, legally, illegally, because of the way that they see that we treat people. And, you know, when you have like ASMR videos about people getting deported and everything, it doesn't make the U.S. seem
Hang on, go on.
like it's very welcoming with open arms.
It doesn't seem very welcoming. Why does everyone want to go there? Why do people want to go there? Why do people wait 10, 15 years for citizenship? Why does everyone want to go to the United States of America? You say it's unwelcoming. You say it's unpleasant. You say it's made hard for them. But good Lord, do people put their lives on the line to get in illegally? People die. There's bodies on the border. Not so much anymore, thankfully. You know, people send their kids off on their own for a better life. And you're saying it's unwelcoming? Good Lord.
Because if you don't come here or you're not already here, then, you know, to hell with you.
Okay, all right. Okay.
If you're not already here, to hell with you. No, America takes loads of legal immigrants.
Okay, so that's a fair one. Let me give you.
It's not a fair one. Sam, there is no conversation happening here. I mean, is this just me, or is there's no distinct direction of debate? They're just saying things that are sort of, there's a tenuous connection to the general sense of what we're talking about. And that general sense is as broad as there are right-wing people in the world. That's what this conversation is. If you had to delimit this conversation from what I've seen and heard so far, there are right-wing people in America, and that can make immigration a bit difficult. That is the level of higher education. This is a university. It's not school. It's called higher education. There is further education, but that's not university.
And I'm going to give you. Do you have a reason?
When we're talking about something like this, it often portrays a light on.
Right, so this geezer is I was talking about facilitators and co-facilitators earlier. This geezer is a facilitator. He's not really, he's a co-facilitator because Sam is the facilitator. But he's doing his bit to try and steer the conversation back to something that might have some relevance and get these students learning how to think. Let's see what he says.
Do you have a reason?
When we're talking about something like this, it often portrays a light on a large society or maybe caste or section, which kind of puts them into a stereotype, which might not be true for the entire society, but which might be true for certain individuals. But because those individuals have been sort of have been shined a light on, or they've been comment a light, the majority seems to think that that entire sector, that entire part of society is exactly like them.
Okay. Yep, I got you.
Saying individual stereotypes is peculiar, but nonetheless, we'll carry on. It's very, let's keep this left.
Yep, here's another, and the fact is, you've got the Pew Research, they just estimated that right now we have 13 to 14 million undocumented people in the U.S., which is not.
That's 13 to 14 million people who have broken the law by nature of them being here. And also, it's an estimate. How do you know it's not double that?
changed very much since I was studying it 40 years ago. But the other side is,
Well, the country might not have changed, but certain states have definitely changed. Certain towns and cities have changed dramatically. What, New York 30 years ago was the same as it is now. California 30 years ago, come on, son.
can't fix the problem if you don't understand who the people are. So this is what I mean about, dude, you like do the left thing. Like, oh, these are human beings and we should treat them better. People don't care. A lot of people don't give a damn about that. They're here illegally, man. Like, that's it. Get out. But what I would say is, you're not going to fix the problem when you're just like throwing out all this information that's wrong. And everybody starts chasing the problem over here when in fact you're missing it. That's not what's going on here. These aren't the people who are committing all the crimes. These aren't the people who you imagine they are. So you're going to have to go back and reevaluate and figure out how we're going to solve this. That's a way to speak to people who are all about law and order.
Sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, but Sam Richards, if you're all about law and order, they've broken the law. I'm not going to say this again. It's driving me mad.
Hey, by the way, I want to pause a second. Does somebody else have just something? Just forget this whole conversation that we're doing.
Forget the free dances on the stage. I've now had to go into the audience to try and get something of value in this conversation.
Does somebody else have just something? Just forget this whole conversation that we're doing.
Because it failed me dramatically.
Someone else want to raise their hand and give us something that I should not talk about in this classroom?
Right, it's an interesting question. Is there which is what he originally said to those three on the sitting down at the front? Is there something I should not talk about in this classroom? And he didn't get an answer to that. He just got loads of stuff that they've been indoctrinated with. They just said stuff they've been told. So the previous, where are we? The previous 10 minutes of this lecture, and it's edited, by the way, not by me, but by them, has failed. It failed. He asked them, is there anything I can't talk? Is there anything we shouldn't talk about in class? That's the name of the damn video. And he's had to start again. He just said it. Forget everything they said because it wasn't relevant. It added nothing to the conversation. It was just hyperbole. And let's start again.
I think kind of similarly to the immigrant.
That's a great point in the chat there. Hang on, where is it? There you go. Yeah. That's what you want. You want someone in this audience to stand up and say, well, exactly what Nick has said there, the crime statistics by race. That would be something that I think would be considered problematic. They might go there, Nick, but that would be amazing if someone said that. But in modern university, you're going to become a pariah. You're going to be an enemy of pretty much all the black people in that university just from saying that. Not all of them. There's plenty of black conservatives, but there's more black leftists. So if you actually said that, it makes being at university hard work. I wrote on my forehead once in magic marker, potential rapist. And I know it doesn't sound like a lot in 2025, but in 1996, when I had to sit for a 2-hour lecture being told that all men were potential rapists, which I don't disagree with, but all women are potential rapists, all women are potential murderers, all women are potential child abusers. But I had to listen to two feminists telling me that as a man, I was this, I was that, I was this, I was that. And when I questioned it to another lecturer and said, why do I have to sit through 2 hours of feminism every week? And he laughed. He went, oh, he went, Christopher, darling. He said, they do make up half the population. I said, yeah, but so do men. And he just sort of danced off with his scarf indoors. And I got into trouble for that. And, the feminists hated me. I fucked most of them, but they hated me. Yeah, that was a weird little contradiction. Right, let's see where they go. What can't you talk about?
Immigration topic.
About conversation that we're doing. Does someone else want to raise their hand and give us something that I should not talk about in this classroom?
I think kind of similarly to the immigration topic, just saying all police are bad and the police. It's
I like it. Interesting. So that's interesting. She is she's established herself as certainly partially right wing. I doubt a leftist. Perhaps there would be a few leftists who'd agree with her. But okay, this is interesting. I'll take it back a bit.
Topic. Just saying all police are bad and the police. It's one of those very black and white.
Okay, yeah.
Sam's over the moon because there's actually someone engaging with the topic.
Exactly.
Tend to push towards one political group.
That's all the military is bad. All the police are bad. All ACAB, all cops are bad, right? You ever see that? ACAB? Anybody parents are police officers? Anyone whose parents are police officers?
No, the question you want to ask them is, who's willing to admit in a liberal college whose parents are Old Bill?
One, imagine you see someone with an ACAB hat, all cops are bastards, and I'm like, first off, how would you wear that? And secondly, who are you going to call when someone breaks into your house? You going to call your Uncle Joe? You going to call your liberal friends and be like, hey, can you bring some weed and some beer over here for these guys? They got guns pointed at my head and I don't really know what to do. Don't call the police because they're all bad.
He's saying they're all bastards, but Penn State have obviously edited that. That's not me.
Wait, is that unfiltered?
No, you're going to have to do it in post.
Wait, is that off the hook? Was that too unfiltered? Can I make that joke? Dude, was that unfiltered?
Oh, interesting. I like this from Sam. Now he's asking them, was that too unfiltered? This is now getting interesting. He said all police are bastards a couple of times. He said, if you think all police are bastards, who are you going to call when you've got armed men coming into your house? All women.
I'm good. I'm all right. Wait, hang on though. Before we go there, can somebody tell me something we can't talk about in this classroom?
Or was he talking to his supervisor perhaps then? Let me know in the chat. Let's just listen to that again because I'm a little bit confused. When he's saying all cops are bastards, which he says about 3 times, is he asking those students on the stage, do you think, there's no way of proving it, or is he asking, the people that his superiors, perhaps, his supervisor? Let's watch it again and let me know what you think.
They got guns pointed at my head and I don't really know what to do. Don't call the police because they're all bad. Wait, is that unfiltered? Wait, is that off the hook? Was that too unfiltered? Can I make that joke? Dude, was that unfiltered?
He's asking them, right? He's asking them. Because again, we're now 11 minutes into the edit, probably more like 30 minutes live when they were there. And he still hasn't managed to get, apart from that one girl who said about the Old Bill, He's now asking them the question he asked them at the beginning of this whole thing. Is there something I can't say? He just asked it. Is there something I can't say in this lecture? And he's still struggling to get anything out of over 700 students. And people, students, these are the intelligentsia of the next generation. You know, when we're all old and crippled and relying on the next CEOs, the next CFOs, the next entrepreneurs, the next middle management, that's these people. And I will tell you now for a fact, for an absolute fact, 30 years ago when I was there, it was nothing like this. They were clever, bright, passionate, argumentative, engaged people. And this lot are going to be running Western civilization. That's a fact. Because that's how the system works. You don't get those jobs. There's the odd anomaly, of course. But most people get those jobs. Have you got a bachelor's degree? Have you got a master's degree? These numbnuts, these dummies, he still hasn't managed to wring out of them an answer to what he asked them when he first started. And these are the leaders of the West. And if you think the West is in trouble now, can you imagine? Can you imagine what it's going to be like with this lot?
Off the hook? Was that too unfiltered? Can I make that joke? Dude, was that unfiltered? I'm good? I'm all right? Wait, hang on though, before we go there. Can somebody tell me something we can't talk about in this classroom? Like,
again, the same question.
Don't bring up this some topic. Just don't bring it up.
Right. Wait, people in the chat, what can't he bring up in there? Yes, zeitgeist. Yes. Self-censorship. Now listen, I know, tricky, potential rapist. I know Foucault gets a lot of shit, but I think it's undeserved. Foucault was a historian. That's all he was. And some very boring books like The Birth of the Clinic, Madness and Civilization, Discipline and Punishment. Oh, Discipline and Punish it's called. But in Discipline and Punish, what Foucault says, he asks a question at the start. He says, what has happened in Western civilization 100 years ago? So I beg you to read Michel Foucault. The book is called Discipline and Punish. If you'll really read it, I'll be able to find it for you free online. Not really YouTube, because that would be ridiculous. But email me if you can read off screen, or you'll just get it on Amazon for like £3 or something. But it starts off with an actual diary entry of someone at the end of the 19th century, or I think it might be the middle of the 19th century. It's a diary entry of a bloke who witnessed a public execution. And it was in France. And this wasn't out of the ordinary. Public executions were quite it was quite a frequent thing. I think the bloke got caught nicking fruit or something like that. I don't know what previous he's got. It was a long time since I read the book. And there's about 5 pages taken from this bloke's diary. And they've got this. This is important. I'm not just telling you this for the gore value. They've got the scaffold, the raised platform where people would be hung, drawn, and quartered. And they've got this geezer up there, and the whole town has come out to watch this public spectacle of punishment, right? They've got this geezer, he's in like a star shape. There's horses, he's got ropes around his wrists, and they're tied around horses, and the same for his legs. And this is all from a diary that someone who was there wrote. His name was Damon's, of all names. 666 behind the ear. And he said that when they whip the horses, they go and they start galloping, and you know, you can imagine his arms just go and his legs go, but they don't come off. The arms don't come off. The legs don't come off. And the audience boo. The audience boo. They're like, oh. So the geezer with the black cloth over his head goes up there and hacks into this living man's shoulders under his armpits and into his like femoral area around his bollocks to loosen up his limbs a bit more. And then they give these horses another whip and they run off. And as soon as the rope becomes tall, I think one arm comes off. And it's a public spectacle and they're all cheering now. Yeah, you went against the law. You broke the law. We're all law abiding. You broke the law. This is the punishment you deserve. A public spectacle. The whole town was there. Children, the lot. To watch a man get pulled apart by horses. And Foucault says, in the space of roughly 100 years, we went from that to people in rooms, in buildings that no one's allowed to see in. You're not even allowed to take photos in prisons unless you get permission. I think they changed that recently. But certainly 15, 20 years ago, you weren't allowed to take photos in prisons. I know that because we tried to go into a prison and, well, that's another story. But, you know, punishment now happens to people in little cells right out the way. And for the clinically insane, the so-called insane, they happen in white buildings out the way, mental institutions. And apart from the odd documentary, these things are kept out of our lives. And then Foucault brings up a prison designed by Jeremy Bentham, who was like a 18th century liberal, I think. Might have been earlier than that. Who invented a prison called the Panopticon. It's a central tower that's about 6 floors. And all the prison rooms are around that tower. There's about a 20-foot distance between the middle tower and all the cells. But there's no doors on the cells. There's a landing, obviously. They don't just walk out of their room and fall down. But they can't see the bloke on each level of the bit in the middle. They don't know when they're being watched. And when you don't know when you're being watched, you behave like you're being watched all the time. And Foucault called that panopticism. Pan for everything, optic, visual eyes, and the suffix ism of, of seeing everything. And so what Foucault says is that prison is like a symbol, is like a metaphor, not a symbol, a metaphor for self-surveillance. And in the world we live in now, we know that everyone can see all our messages. Oh, this is encrypted end to end. Oh, sure it is. You know, all your emails are encrypted. No, we kind of live self-surveilling ourselves. And that's exactly what Zeitgeist has nailed there. And that's exactly what these people here are doing as well. They're self-surveilling. And that, in a way, is ultimate authority. And it's pure authority. Because they don't even need to be looking at you. They don't even need to be surveilling you. It's the chance that they might be. It's the chance that that bloke on level 4 of that central column in that prison, even though he's got, 60 rooms, 60 cells to look at, he could be looking in yours. So probably not a good time to be sharpening that toothbrush. The chances are he isn't. I mean, the odds are that, you're 1 in 50, 1 in 60 or whatever. But he might be. And if he is watching you, you might be on that scaffold the following week having your arms pulled off by horses. It's a cracking read, people, I tell you. So let's take this back and let's see that Sam, again, probably now 45 minutes into a lecture.
Is there anything you got to bring up?
Is still asking the first question again. Yep, good call, Quadrex. Well, there's a reason, Quadrex, because, a panoptic culture, people who live in that culture become that culture. So parents become that culture. And their children learn that, and their children bring up their children like that. The children go to a school, and the school's like that as well. The whole culture has become a pure authoritarian culture because you could be being surveilled. It's called discipline and punish. There you go. It's a fantastic book. I'd love to talk to Jordan Peterson or even Warren Smith when they go, oh, these postmodernists. Foucault's not a postmodernist. He's a fucking historian. It's ridiculous. Anyway, let's see what happens. He's asking the same question. Hello, Rollo. I saw your videos, what you do for a living. Very nice, very nice. Yep, brilliant point from Rollo. Religion is in many ways it's the surveillance bit, but it's with a view to a paradise rather than a view to a punishment. So there's quite a strange different side. No, fair play, Vil. No, I always confuse it. There's 3 books because the Marquis de Sade went to prison, I think, for whipping a prostitute. And then there's another one, I can't think of it offhand, and I always confuse the crimes. But there you go. Yeah, I thought I'll have to find out what one the stealing apples was, because it did seem a little bit much for stealing. If they were hang, drawing and quartering everyone who was stealing apples in the Middle Ages, that scaffold would be pretty busy. What did you make of the book, Vil, now? Right, here we go.
Before we go there, can somebody tell me something we can't talk about in this classroom? Like, don't bring up this some topic. Just
fuck's sake, can someone just give me an answer to this question I keep asking you?
don't bring it up. Is there anything? You got one, bro? Conspiracy theories. Okay, don't bring up.
Right. Well, so my first question would be what defines a conspiracy? What defines a conspiracy? Well, we know what a theory is. Aren't all theories conspiratorial to an extent, unless it's proven. Unless you can prove your theory. And how do we do that? We do it through synthesis and conclusion. But before then, it's just a theory. And a theory is open to being conspiratorial. Of course it is. It's not saying they all are, but it's open to it.
Conspiracy theories. Yeah, well, it's hard because you like, okay, so don't do that. Okay, cool.
He had to write that one off because it's just a stupid thing to say. Oh, what can't I talk about in this class? Conspiracy theories. Really? What, you can't? You just did. You did. You actually, the person who said you can't talk about conspiracy theories did talk about conspiracy theories. Now, I'm starting to understand, I think, where Sam's going with this. Hopefully, I hope this is where he's going with it. You can talk about anything because it's only talking. You can debate anything. I'm hoping that's where this is going. I'm hoping that he's proving that, because in a room of over 700 so-called clever people, bright people, students, no one can tell him. Now, I'd say it's because they're shy, scared, and stupid. But there's a little bit of hope here. No, I'm giving them too much. They're just shy, scared, and stupid. But I'm hoping that Sam is driving towards the fact that at university you can talk about anything.
Even though I have a couple conspiracy theories I'd like to crank out, but like, who did kill Epstein, by the way? All right. Does somebody else have one?
I feel like we're talking about a lot of things that we can talk about because this is a sociology course. How about we talk about something that we can't talk about and something that you're not able to teach, such as like a topic like physics or math?
Okay.
What the fuck? I mean, fair play, you green-haired wonder. That is incredible. That is incredible. So the question is, is there anything we can't talk about? And he says, yeah, physics, because this is a sociology class. I mean, are you fucking joking? That's the sort of thing I would say as a joke. I'd say it to make my mates laugh. You know, yeah, we can't talk about physics because it won't help me with my sociology exam. This is ridiculous. Let's just see how Sam dodges this one. I think he's just going to go, yeah, anyone else? I mean, this bloke is look how unsure he is when he says it. It's almost like he's not making a statement. He's asking a question. Now, you unfortunately, we can't see his eyebrows, but there's two modifiers. Are they modifiers as such? There's two things people do when they want, what's the word? They want some kind of affirmation. They want, like comedians do it when they say something to you and they raise their eyebrows so that you affirm them. And the other one is going up at the end of a sentence because it turns a statement into a question. But this geezer, it sounds like he's actually that his cadence is that of a question. But it's absolute nonsense. LOAAA. This is ridiculous. Let's see how Sam deals with palming this one off.
Geology course. How about we talk about something that we can't talk about and something that you're not able to teach, such as like a topic like physics or math?
Okay, how about this? How about climate change?
He just ignored him and said, how about climate change? That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. I'm sorry, people. I'm a bit distracted because there's a word. It's a very simple word that I can't remember. When someone talks to you and they raise their eyebrows, what are they asking for? I've said affirmation, but that's not the word I'm looking for. It's a simple word. The grift is terrible, by the way. It's 10:30 on my Saturday night here. Good Lord. But thanks to everyone who has donated. That's very kind. What's the word I'm looking for? I think it begins with A. When it might not begin with A though. When you raise your eyebrows, you're asking for. It might be acceptance. Oh, I don't know. Anyway, so Sam just dumps this bloke's ridiculous point and talks about climate change, mentions climate change.
You can talk about that.
How can I talk about that? That's like, I'm a sociologist, man.
There you go. Approval. Yeah. When people talk to you, people, and at the end of the sentence, they sort of go, they might say something like, I don't want to just end mass uncontrolled immigration. I want to end all immigration. I mean, it looks normal, doesn't it? At an end of a sentence to go like that. Because they're saying they want approval. If you look at those old Bill interviews, there's plenty of them online. There's fucking thousands of them. They go on for hours. When people answer a question and either their voice goes up, so, they might say something like, I had to get a taxi home because my car was broke. That's seeking approval. And also is raising your eyebrows. You'll see comedians do it all the time. It's sort of like, this is the punchline. Respond to me in kind by laughing or clapping. And look out for it as well, because if you're solid in the point you're making, you don't seek approval. You seek engagement. And your words alone should be able to get that.
It's an observation.
Well, it's an observation built on science, though. It's like, can I do climate change? Dude, the guy in the yellow right there, his hand went up really fast. Huh. Okay. So stick with sociology. Okay, so stick with sociology is what I'm hearing. Okay, that's fair.
I kind of wanted to touch upon the topic of conspiracy theories. I feel like that kind of relates back to like opinions, because some people might define certain conspiracy theories as like fact, while others might say it's false. So you might have someone who's a conservative who says, well, climate change is a conspiracy theory. So who says that we can talk about climate change, and like who says we can't?
It's a fair point. It's the fairest point so far.
It's kind of nuanced. It's kind of a little too nuanced.
Okay, I got you. All right, thanks for reopening that door for me. All right, we'll do a class on climate
He didn't even lie there.
change. Even me saying climate change is a problem for some people. What do you mean climate change?
Yeah, but the thing about climate change that always gets me is people say that this like 98% of scientists say that man-made climate change is damaging the earth. Well, if you go back to the time of, who was it? Galileo? Was it Galileo or Copernicus? I think Galileo got banged up in prison for telling the truth. But the other 99% of scientists didn't say what he said. So the one that was right was called the conspiracy theorist.
Climate's not changing. Like, what are you talking about?
No, climate change. The climate change argument isn't about whether the climate's changing. The climate has always been changing. Have you heard about the ice age? Did you hear about the meteor that hit the earth? Yeah, it's a bit of a straw man, Sam, but carry on. Your lecture is just falling on its face.
Can you? Yeah, go ahead, man.
I mean, think of it. They've probably been in there now for about 40, 50 minutes. What do you think any of them have learned? It's a real question. I'm asking the chat. What do you think any of these students have learned so far? And again, these are the leaders. These are the leaders of Western civilization.
I don't think we should treat any type of hatred as an opinion, because it's, I mean, it is, but it's wrong.
But then,
yeah, okay. So we finally got somewhere. This bloke has said something really stupid. We shouldn't treat hatred as opinion because it's wrong. Well, you're going to have to define hatred. You're going to have to define hatred as an opinion. And then you're going to have to get into morality and ethics when you're talking about wrong or right. You can toss that nonsense out there. I mean, that's fucking primary school level. You can't say that, it's wrong. At a university, you should be able to talk about anything. And if someone in your class thinks it's hateful, how do they learn? How do they learn? They learn by debating you. They learn by listening to you and questioning you. I mean, this isn't new. Socrates was doing this millennia ago. The Socratic dialectic. You put forth a proposition and I'll ask you a question about it. And we can go backwards and forwards. No one's trying to win. We're trying to find the truth. And that's what universities are for.
what's hatred? Like, what's hatred, right?
What's hatred? What's right? What's wrong?
This specifically what I'm talking about, I'm not talking about like, oh, I hate this guy because he killed my dad. That's different.
Obviously.
I'm talking about like unsolicited hatred.
Here, let me give you an example.
Unsolicited hatred. What, as opposed to solicited hatred? Who solicits hatred? Well, sexually, I suppose sadomasochists do. Kick me in the nuts 30 times. What a ridiculous thing to say. Chrissy says, university is a scam. That's the lesson here. I don't think university is a scam for subjects where you need very high-tech and expensive equipment. Again, we go back to STEM. But for most things, I mean, what I will say, again, I was at uni 30 years ago, so it was different. What I learned most at university, I learned outside of the classroom. I learned about being with people, being in groups, group dynamics. I learned about women. I learned about being a man. The classes were far, far, far better than this. The arguments would carry on all day and carry on into the bar that night. And at art school, you do go to the bar every night. And then they'd carry on back at someone's house until the sun came up. These people can't even have a conversation in their 40-minute lecture. Seminar, sorry.
So a number of years ago, there was a campaign called Stop Asian Hate, because under COVID, so many people of East Asian ancestry were getting attacked. So everybody kept talking about attacks, the hate, the attacks on Asians, and then the stories they told were stories where people, got beat up or something like that. Stop Asian hate, and it was all over the news, right? And then I started investing.
Right, hang on. Sam's saying something that's likely to be interesting, but I'm sure most of you saw it. As the camera pans along, you're going to see two blonde girls. One of them is looking up at the screen, which shows her what's on camera. And I'm not digging her out for this because we all have egos. But she realizes that she's going out on the internet. and I do want you to listen to what Sam says, because we're coming to the end of the video now. But also, we might have to watch this twice. So there's 80 people here. It's really nice to see you on Early Doors stream.
Everybody kept talking about attack.
Actually, I'm going to mute it so we can watch it again in a minute with Sam. But see this bird here on the bottom left? Watch her when she realizes. I mean, look, she's looking at her phone anyway, probably on Instagram. But watch. Maybe her friend tells her. Right, a friend notices. She notices. Look, covers her face. What a peculiar. Look, I'm not here. This one's just going for the statue at the moment. Just don't move. Don't move. Don't think it'll pass. And she's covering her face. But she'll take that off. She'll stop covering her face. Interesting. Right, let's see what Sam's saying, because he spent 45 minutes not being able to get blood out of a stone.
Everybody kept of East Asian ancestry were getting attacked. So everybody kept talking about attacks, the hate, the attacks on Asians, and then the stories they told were stories where people, got beat up or something like that. Stop Asian hate, and it was all over the news, right? And then I started investigating, and what I found was that, 94% of the hate directed at Asians was just people calling someone a name. And I'm like, wait, hang on a second. I started asking people, everyone thinks that hate is people getting beat up. Asians are getting...
Wait, this is interesting. So Penn State editors have chosen to somewhat modify what Sam said. Because Sam said all these hate reports that the Asians were getting turned out to be, they were just called a name, which is nothing, which any adult who's going to have any chance of getting through life with any chance of pleasure, enjoyment, fulfillment, being productive, should really be able to handle being called a name at age 19, 20 or whatever. But Penn State moderators, look at this modifier. It might be better said that approximately 90.6% of all the hate reported was non-violent, mostly labeled under verbal and online harassment or shunning. Shunning. You can't even get away with ignoring people now. You're not allowed to ask someone where they come from. But then if you don't accept their lived experience, you're also in trouble. But if you ignore them so that you don't have to deal with any of that unwinnable, endlessly deferred, you're wrong, white man, you know, it goes down as it's registered as a hate for shunning. You don't hate someone just because you shun them. You might just not be interested in them. I mean, look how many people shun my YouTube channel.
Being beat up all over the place. I knew people of Asian ancestry who were afraid to leave their homes because they didn't want to get attacked.
They didn't want to get shunned. There you go. We get back to we get back to panopticism, self-shunning. You stay at home.
And yet, the vast majority was just people calling someone a name. I'm like, so when you say hate...
This isn't going down well in this audience. Sam Richards comes from a time when that doesn't matter. Someone walks past you and calls you a name, you're just like, yeah, whatever. But this audience has been indoctrinated with this idea of hate speech. and words of violence. And they're all confused now because in another lecture they've got some race grifter telling them that there's words that certain races aren't allowed to say. They're that dangerous. And Sam's laughing about it, and they're all there going, can't compute.
I'm like, wait, hang on a second. Is that hate? Like, I mean, it is hate, but
Self-soothing.
But it's like, is it really hate? You know what I mean?
Look, nothing. They're like zombies. I mean, look, I reckon if this was us lot in there, you wouldn't be able to get a word in edgeways, mainly because of me. But, I reckon you lot would be jumping into this. Hello, Doc Shelley. Good to see you, son. Hello, Toffee. And look, Sam's actually showing some passion. And it's hard to do it. I've lectured at undergraduate level. And I failed a whole class once because they were lazy. They didn't read the books I told them to read. Their essays were just a joke. Some of the essays I read the first page and I thought, oh, okay, so you've decided to summarize. This is like a preface. You've decided to summarize your argument as a preface. Then I turn it over and that was it. And I fail. Yeah, they all had to go and get credits elsewhere. And I got called in. I got called in by the director of studies, Melinda Drowley, lovely bird she was. The fact that she'd give me that job teaching there. And she said, you failed everyone. I said, Melinda, do you know how lazy they are? She said, yes, I do. She said, but are you sure they all failed? I said, do you want to have a look at their essays? And she said, yeah. And I had another meeting with her and she said, could this not be down to you though? Because you taught them for 6 weeks. And I said, do you think it's down to me? I said, what kind of essays do the other visiting lecturers get? And no, she said, yeah. She said, I'm sticking with it. They're all failed. And in those days, it was a credit system. You had to get a certain amount of credits to move on into the next year. And if you failed what were they called? It was called. I can't remember what it was called. An elective. That's it. If you failed an elective, you had to take another one. And they already thought, I'll take the easy one. I'll take this one. What is it? Art and language. That'll be just easy. And they all failed it. And this lot, this is shocking. I know I've said this many times, people, but you can't argue with this point. These are the people that will be running Western civilization. They're our students. Now, even if you say it's only going to be 10% of this lot, we're still not hearing anything from them. And Sam is maintaining a level of passion. He's trying to whip them up. Let's talk about this. Like zombies. It's mind blowing. Listen to him. He's offering it out there. He's offering. Come back to me. Come back. Say something. Silence.
Start asking people. Everyone thinks that hate is people getting beat up. Like Asians are getting beat up all over the place. I knew people of Asian ancestry who were
nice one, Zeitgeist. Zeitgeist, very kind. Perhaps a smaller class size would eliminate the chance of an antifa cell being present. So you make a good point, actually. You make a good point. But I think it's that panopticism thing. A smaller class would still have people in there who may well not be hard Marxist left, but they might be enough just to say to one person who wasn't in that class, and by the way, these universities can't have smaller classes because it costs them more money and then they lose their profits. And that's why you have big classes, because it's cheaper, isn't it? You got one lecturer, you got 700 people. If you want to break this down, on my master's degree, we had groups of 5 or 6, but it's a master's degree, so there's less people doing them. But you're still going to have one person who's going to go out there and go, oh, guess what? So-and-so said that he doesn't think it's hateful saying the N-word. And that will spread like wildfire. It will spread like wildfire. So I understand your point, but I think you'll get the same effect. It will just be a little bit slower. And that is the damage. And this is why this is a great point from Zeitgeist. That is the damage that this whole fear thing has caused in academia. No one's got the balls to stand up and defy the doxer. Look up doxer, D-O-X-A. It's a great word. That doesn't get used so much, but look up doxer. I'll tell you what, we'll do it right. No, we won't. But look up doxer. It's kind of like the sort of, it's kind of like the common assumptions of a people, the common assumptions of a group of people. And you know, it's a dangerous place to go against the grain. It's a dangerous place to go against the grain. Yet, it always was. You know, we had absolute radicals when I was at art school. I was one of them. But it stayed at words. Because the environment we were told that's what the environment was for. But when you're a client, no. You have places where you have safe spaces where people can't say naughty, bad words against you, where people can't disagree with you. And as soon as you sort of close that door, you close the whole door of what the academy is meant to be. You know, the half of these students, roughly half of these students think that the other half are Nazis. Think about that. You know, they think they're going to wake up with men with pillowcases on their heads, dancing around their bed with flaming crosses.
Afraid to leave their homes.
And Sam, bless him, is doing his best to tell them, I think, that that's what they're there for.
Because they didn't want to get attacked. And yet, the vast majority was like just people calling someone a name. I'm like, so when you say hate, I'm like, wait, hang on a second. Is that hate? Like, I mean, it is hate, but it's like, is it really hate? You know what I mean?
Thank you, Zeitgeist, for that donation.
Is that hate? It's like if you could call the name, you're like, oh, hey, I experienced a hate crime.
Look at him now having to go up to people that he feels might ask a fucking, say something, just say something. John Palmer bought 3 futures. He said, I love this. I wish I'd have gone to university. I would have loved arguing with these idiots and debating their nonsense and maybe learning something. Nice one, JP. Much appreciated. If you look closely, Packer's saluting you now. And Jed also bought a future, and he said, the Milky Bars are on me. And Jed, thank you for the film recommendations. Keep me. I have to have a film on when I'm writing. Fuck knows why. It's just the way it goes. So you're helping me get this manuscript finished. Thank you, JP and Jed. I will screen grab them so that I can pop them on the screen at the end. Much appreciated. I'll just give entropy a quick spin for what it's worth. No, we're all good there. Right. Hello, Mouse Cat. How are you, son? Early doors today. Right. We're nearly at the end. Let's see how we go.
Hey.
Look at him now. No one is responding. No one has got an oomph of passion to say something. Even if you're agreeing with him, just say, I couldn't agree more, Sam. It's ridiculous. What kind of world do we live in where the FBI have got statistics on people calling people fucking names? Or if someone wants to disagree with him and just put their hand up and go, yeah, but you haven't had it. You weren't there. You weren't there when me as an Asian was walking through campus and all I heard was people saying fucking ting tong ting and chop suey and all that 24/7. Where's these people's life? Where are they? It's like Day of the Living Dead. Nice one, Anglo. That's a nice thing to say. Well, Toffee, I don't think you were here at the start, but I think all universities should be forced to do this by law. And I said they should want to. Because if they were proud of their universities, why wouldn't you want to advertise that? Why wouldn't you want to say, look, this is what goes on at our university? Sam Richards does it because he's got a bit of bottle about him. But he's working, he's not, it doesn't work out too well for him most of the time because these kids are fucking dumb, man. It drives me, it's just, you know what? It doesn't drive me mad. It makes me sad. Yeah, they are. There's no fire in them. They've got no opinions. These people, they need their opinions to be validated, legitimated, checked, contextually checked as well. Oh, I can say this here. What can I say here? What can I say there? Where's the right place to say this? And I think that's the point Sam's making. You're in a university. It's a place of debate. When we talk about STEM and there's people with their lab coats on and their big glasses, their Max Headroom glasses and all that, doing all this stuff, they also debate. I have seen people studying human biology arguing about molecules. And that's how you discover things like DNA. That's how you discover the double helix. Look at Jeffrey Sharla. Look at Thomas Saz. They spent their lives arguing about the myth of mental illness. They're both Thomas Saz is dead now. They were psychiatrists. James Davis is a psychiatrist. He's dedicated the last 15 years of his life debunking psychiatry. Imagine being him. Everywhere he goes, the people he considered when he went to university to learn psychiatry, and he's a doctor of it. So he done his 3-year BA, he done his 3-year MA, he done his 5-year PhD to be a psychiatrist. And very quickly he realized it was a scam. And so he thought, well, rather than just become a bricklayer or rather than become whatever, rather than just chuck it all in, I'll make this my passion. I'll get psychiatry back on track. But he's just hated by everyone because he calls out that profession as a load of bullshit. Thomas Saz, Jeff Sharla, James Davis. What's going to be questioned in 20 years when these people are middle management? And what happens when things don't get questioned? I'll tell you what happens. Money makes decisions. Lobbying makes decisions. You know, look at it. What's going to happen when the likes of John Kennedy leaves the Senate and all that, and you've got the likes of this lot in there. And when people come in, you know, to be questioned about social media monopolies like Google were the other week, and you've got people who don't care. They've got no passion. They're just dumb. And they're the ones with the degrees and the master's degrees and the doctorates. And that's why they get those jobs. And they've just got no care for the subject. They're just sort of breezing through life, trying to make it just as easy as possible. Make life as easy as possible for themselves because they've got no actual engagement in anything. And I'm not blaming them. I'm blaming many things. I'm blaming alcohol. I'm blaming feminism. I'm blaming the welfare state, and I'm blaming the long march through through the institutions and other things. Mental health, so-called.
You know what I mean?
Look. It's very subtle, but look, Sam says, you know what I mean? At the end of quite a passion sort of rant. And he's like, you know what I mean? And he looks round and there's nothing. Watch it carefully. Watch him say it. You know what I mean? And he looks round, waiting for one person in 700 to agree with him or disagree with him. That's all you've got to do. And he doesn't get it. He gets fuck all. Watch.
Really hate. You know what I mean? Is that hate? It's like if you could.
He's now having to pick someone out because no one cares enough. They don't care enough to volunteer an opinion.
Called a name. You're like, oh, hey, I experienced a hate crime at Penn State or whatever. It's like, I don't know. It's a question, you know? So you see what I mean? Even there, it's like, shit.
It depends on what you're calling them. Are you calling them?
It depends on what you're calling them. Does it? At least he said something, but it's not that. Bags, this is agony. Yeah, it's hard work watching it. It really is. I totally agree with you. Mousecat made a donation. Education is wasted on the stupid. Yeah, as soon as they become clients, it all went down the pan. Nice one, Mousecat. Appreciated.
And it's also it's defined. Hatred's defined by the society around you. You're not gonna really get a satisfying answer because it's defined sociologically.
No, but
hello, Mal.
It's you define it the way you want. If I want to define it, if I think I can get people to be like, oh, hate, it means you're beating people up. And I think I can get you to do that. And I keep seeing hate. Knowing that that's what you're thinking, that's pretty uncool, man. When in fact, it's like, okay, you're yelling at somebody. Which I'm not saying people of Asian ancestry, it should be okay to yell and name call people of Asian ancestry. Bro, I'm not saying that. You're all good. Right? It's just like, let's be fair to this.
And that is it. Out of all the lectures they had on that week, that was the one they chose to put up. That is Penn State. Now, again, I absolutely admire them for putting up, and they regularly do them. Let's have a look at a channel. You see, they don't do like one a month or something. Sometimes they do 2 or 3 a week. And it's only Sam Richards' class. Can you see that? Hang on. No, you can't. 1 second. So look, So yeah, this is the one we just done. That was 1 day ago, 8 days ago, 9 days ago, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 1 month ago. So in the last month, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So just over, what's that, about 1.2 a week. That ain't bad. And there's plenty of them there, you know, they've been doing this for a while. I think all universities should do this. I don't think... I used to have a job, right, years and years ago. I had a job where I used to have to go into sick forms and get on stage and talk to the sick formers about university life. And I'll say, you know, in those days, I used to quote like 50 or 40,000. I'd say, you're going to leave there 40, 30, 50 grand in debt. Would you buy something without looking at it? You know, and if I was in a school in Camberwell, I'd say, would you buy a kilo of skunk without looking at it? And I'd get a laugh. I'd go, but you wouldn't, would you? So why, when you're filling in what unis you want to go to, have you not visited them? You must visit your first 3 choices, because you might end up there and you're going to owe 50 grand for the privilege. Because it turned out something like 15% of students actually visited the places that they applied to. Absolutely ridiculous. And there's no best university and there's no worst university. There's the best for what you need. That company I worked for, it had this bit of software that you could buy, that the school could buy off of the company. It was part of the independent newspaper. And there was all these sliders from 0 to 100. And it was like staff to student ratio. And you could slide it up to 100 or to 70. Is that important to you? Then the next one was like price of accommodation. Is that important to you or is that not too important to you? Postgraduate opportunities. Is that important to you? Not important to you? Is the bar subsidized? Was actually on there. Like when I done, listen to this. I know I'm old, but this will blow your minds. When I was doing my my bachelor's degree, 3-year bachelor's degree in contemporary art, the bar was subsidized. I was getting a pint of Guinness for £1. A fucking £1, man. It was ridiculous. Like you could be proper skint and you just go up to 3 of your mates and go, oi, lend us a couple of quid, can you? Like £2. And then you'd have £6 and that's your night sorted. You know? And then once you've done your 6 pints, someone will go, you want another drink? I go, I ain't got any money left. They've had 5 or 6 by then. So they're like, oh, you all right? I go, yeah, sweet. But, you know, that is education, and that's higher education. Sam Richards could not wring any passion or engagement out of that whole room. Let me just go and get some water. Packer has said fuck all. So Packer, I sort of don't want to ruin it, but I need some water. So you can say something if you want, or you can say nothing.
I might choose to say nothing. No, that was incredibly painful to watch. It was like an entire room full of me, wasn't it? Literally trying to get blood out of a stone. I found it very tiresome, to be fair. I can't imagine why I didn't want to go to college or university. Someone put something in the chat. Where was it? Bob was going to get you. Ucha Dangerfield. Last time I watched one of your streams was 3 years ago, strung out on my way to rehab. Now, 3 years later, I'm clean and sober and working in the rehab and watching Dangerfield again. So, congratulations, mate. Nice to have you. Was I in the military? No, never. Blimey. No one was telling me what time to get out of bed. Sorted?
Yeah. I got some flumps because I needed a sugar hit. You convinced me the other day that I'm addicted to sugar, by the way, when we had a little chat. Oh,
Most
give me
people
one
are.
in the chat if you give me one. Oh my God, I can't believe Vahi is on the firm. Oi, Ray, do you know how to donate? I know how much your business is worth. I'll tell you the best one. It's buy me a coffee. You can just see that QR code. For people who don't know, that's my best mate, Ray Vahi, who's taking the piss out of the way I speak. He owns BitChute. Yeah, that changed everything, didn't it? Yeah. Ray, what number most visited website are you in America at the moment? Blew my mind when he told me a couple of years ago. See, listen, look. I'm not saying all those kids in that university won't achieve anything. I'm saying most of them won't. Ray Vahi and his mate, who had absolutely no history of online video platforms, had a couple of beers one night and decided to set up a video hosting platform. And they done it. Where is it? I'm sorry, Ray, you're getting questions now about does BitChute have an app? I think the problem was they won't put it in the stores. Is BitChute banned in the UK? Well, I read that, Ray told me that they had to move out of England because of the draconian laws in England. Last time you sent me a picture of you on the deathbed, so I sent you some cash. Then got a video from Pattaya. I remember half of that. I've never been to Pattaya. Patong. Same thing, really, isn't it? Patong's like a Pattaya light. But I was on your manor in that deathbed. I don't want to dox you, but I was right on your manor. You know, I kept saying to you, I might see you soon. But it went south and I ended up in the ICU. So anyway, Raymond, that's the one. Best part of Thailand. Sorry, people, it's an in-joke because people who live in Thailand just think Patong is the arsehole of the country. And in a way it is. And that's why I love it. It won't be long, Raymond. It won't be long. Ray, you'll have to come on soon, mate. You'll have to come on. You'll have to come on and tell us what's happening with BitChute. It's good to see you. Right, hang on. What was I? There was something I wanted. There was a summary I wanted to make about that last thing. Like I say, they are going to be the leaders of the future. And just the difference between my experience of being at art school and university, the engagement, the passion, but the anger, that youthful anger. You know, you're not going to hurt anyone, but you are going to use your intelligence and what you know to prove that their argument is wrong. You're going to find some truth. And you might sometimes, the truth might actually debunk what you were saying. And that's a glorious thing to happen because you've learned something and you've learned it sooner rather than later, because otherwise you're going to be dragging that assumption around your whole life with you. You know, Jacques Derrida, the French, Albanian, is it Algerian, sorry, but he's considered French because that's where he studied. He's considered like people like Jordan Peterson, and he puts Derrida in with Foucault. Oh, these postmodernists. Derrida's not a postmodernist. What did Derrida do that's postmodern? It's just ridiculous. But his whole body of work essentially is about assumptions we make. Assumptions we make about language, assumptions we make about binary oppositions. For instance, Socrates, we all know Socrates, he never wrote anything down. That was his thing, because he said that writing is a dangerous supplement to living speech. Plato, Socrates' star pupil, thankfully for us, wrote everything Socrates said down. But Derrida comes along thousands of years later and says, well, hang on, what is the difference between writing and speaking? They both follow the rules of language, and language is unstable, and they both follow the same rules. And Socrates said it threatened self-presence, the idea of presence and absence, you being here and you not being here. But you being here is not the same as your words being here. Don't tell me you've never cried over a love letter that you found 6 months after you broke up with someone. You know, when your mother gives you a shopping list, what's the difference with her standing next to you in the shop and going, stick some of that pasta in there, stick some cornflakes in there, just because she's written it down? And you know, that like Descartes, René Descartes, I think, therefore I am. The things he said about language that underpin Western metaphysics, all those binary opposites. You know, we've built Western philosophy on top of those assumptions. There's a bit, I'm sure, I can never remember what one it is, but there's a bit in Descartes' Meditations where he says, I woke up this morning and I thought that something about, I think therefore I am, cogito ergo sum, makes me a rational animal. But then I'd have to discover further truth. I'd have to ask what is rational and what is an animal. And I haven't got the time nor the leisure to do that. So I'm just going to stick with it. And Western metaphysics has been built on that. The way we think has been built on assumptions. And that's like a it's kind of micro, but it's also kind of macro. Do you see what I mean? That micro-macro opposition has also crumbled. But that's why those kids in that class are like that, because they're loaded up with assumptions. And as soon as you have an assumption that you haven't got some critical distance from and actually thought about critically, you've just inherited it. That's what makes you stay silent in a classroom where the lecturer is walking amongst the class, trying to wake them up. Because you're stuffed full to the brim with assumptions. And philosophical assumptions are one thing, but they do filter down into our daily lives. But academic, not the content, but the performance of education that we saw there. I mean, you just saw it. We watched it 2.5 hours. We spent watching a 20-minute video. Do you honestly think any of them walked out of there and had learned something? I don't.
If there was anything to learn, I definitely missed that.
Yeah. It wasn't there. Well, it was, but they didn't give him. Sam Richards, for all his faults, doesn't want to give them answers because that's telling people stuff. He wants them to learn how to think critically, and how to come up with ideas. But he couldn't wring it out of them. He couldn't, he just, the amount of times he said, is there anything I can't say in this class? It was the first question he asked it 10 minutes later, then he asked it 20 minutes later, and it was the last question, and people are like, well, climate change, conspiracy theories and that, hate speech. All those people you saw that were taking notes, the only reason they done that is so that at the end of term, when their sociology exam comes up, they can sit there and read their notes. Right, what can I say in class? Conspiracy theories, whatever. So that when they get their exam, they can repeat it back to them. But Sam doesn't do that to them. They'll be relying on other lecturers, which is why it's dangerous. Because you've got race grifters, you've got all sorts of grifters in there, just taking the absolute piss, telling these students what to believe. And that's why when they end up in a class like Sam Richards, he's not asking for that. He's asking for them to think. And it's a tragedy that they can't do it. They cannot think. Students at university can't think. Absolutely ridiculous. I'll just put this up on the screen as promised, your moments of glory. There's Jed, Milky Bars are on me. There's JP, love this. I wish I'd have gone to uni. I'd have loved arguing with these idiots and debating their nonsense and maybe learn something. You know what, John? Don't take this the wrong way. Hang on, I wish I hadn't have said that now. But I tell you what, John, there were people who I met in my first year, my BA, who weren't that bright. They hadn't read a lot. They were very introverted, but they didn't accept what they were told. And they came out of that university, they came out of that art school, probably within the top 1-2% of people, of intelligent people. Not because they were clever, but because they refused to accept assumptions. They refused to just accept stuff they were told. And that's all you've got to do. You've just got to apply critical distance. Don't accept things for how they appear. Things are not self-identical. We communicate via language. Look at language. The amount of times I've said this. The more words you use, the more specific you're getting, right? If you're describing something, this is a vape, it's long, it's black, it's got a point on the top, it's got a bit at the bottom that twists. It says Coke ice down the side. Cocaine, methamphetamine flavor. But the way language works, it works by associative chains. You know, it doesn't describe anything. Black doesn't describe anything. Long doesn't describe anything. Long only describes something like short, as opposed to short. So language works via associative chains. The more words you use, the more words get involved. Imagine looking a word up in the dictionary. What do you get? More words. So one word gives you 30 words. But what do 30 words give you? 500 words. What do 500 words give you? 20,000. It's exponential. It's unstable. It's untrustworthy. And this is my argument about objective reality. You know, people like Semiagog, people like Warren Smith, they always say to me, oh, what do you mean you don't believe in objective reality? I'm not going to talk for Semiagog, actually, because he's not here, and I don't want to put those words into his mouth, although he did say it. But is there an objective reality? Now, I would say there is, but how do we mediate it? How do we communicate it? Through language. And language it's not a stable system. It's not a fixed system of meaning. So how do you communicate something objective using an unstable system whose meaning is continually deferred? You can't. And if you can't communicate something, does it exist? That's my problem with objective reality. Anyway, I'm spinning right off. But this is what it was like when I was at uni. There'd be other people screaming at me. And not just me, everyone was like that. If you pressed someone's particular conceptual button, they'd be on you. And it took 30 years to go from that. Think about it. Lecture, 10 o'clock in the morning till 12. Then we'd go to the canteens, still arguing. Then we'd go home, have a wank, smoke a joint, then go to the bar, still arguing. After the bar, maybe something sensual with a lady, and then back round someone's house, still arguing until the sun come up. 3 or 4 times a week it was like that for 3 years. And that weren't just my university, because we went to other universities. I visited other friends at other unis, and they were all like that. Art schools more so than most, but that's because you can't teach art, so you teach art theory, and art theory is essentially history. History of ideas, anyway. And in 30 years, you've got a bloke nearly having an heart attack, walking around a room full of people who look, like they're all smacked up. Dr. Neil Rigger says the desire to find the truth should be the only prerequisite for applicants to university. Sadly, it has to be injected right out of the gate. Yeah, mate, Dr. Rigger, I will call you, because I will fuck up in a minute, and that's my YouTube channel down the pan. Dr. Rigger, most people applying for a bachelor's degree wouldn't even understand what you've said in this day and age. They wouldn't understand what desire for truth meant. Drives me absolutely crazy. It really does. Right, let me do this. Let me sort this out. Oh, I want to thank you all for your comments on my Charlie Kirk celebrants video I made. That in all my years of YouTube, and as far as I can remember, that's the second video I've ever scripted. I sort of wrote an essay. It was a bit sort of rough around the edges, but I wrote an essay, and I was going to put it on my Substack, but I thought, actually, stick it on YouTube. And some of the comments were very encouraging. Right, we got that all set up. Right, listen, Packer, I'll let you go, mate.
Hold on. I've got some news. Yeah, tonight at 10:30 UK time, or as we like to call it in this country, the real time.
The time.
Yeah. On 42's channel, he will be premiering the new song, the England Day song, or poem to a tune, as it were.
Of which I'm a part of, people. And you'll know because I'm a very large part of it, the bastards.
I'm on
Zeitgeist, hang on. The grift is more important than anything. Hang on, Packer. We will get into that because it's good. We need to tell people about that. Zeitgeist has dropped another $14.99. Thank you, mate. Authoritarianism makes us dumber. The Dark Ages, Islam, communism all lacked innovation. I don't know about that. Not sure about that. The first universities were kind of Persian, weren't they? I don't know about innovation. And the Soviet Union got someone into space before the Americans. The first line I'll take all day long, for sure. That's the agenda of authoritarianism. I mean, you know, it's interesting. When I was like a young flaneur, getting out my head all the time, I thought I was really sticking it to the man. But there's nothing better than a drug addict for the state. You know, you're the perfect imbecile. Not you, I mean me. You know, you're just nothing.
Oh.
Nice one, Zeitgeist. I'll have a think about that one. But I'm not. I don't know about innovation there.
You check entropy.
I've been told to check entropy.
Buy me a
I don't know if
coffee.
entropy is
Buy me a
working.
coffee. Buy me a coffee. It is, sorry.
Oh, okay.
Stop talking nonsense.
Hello, Mrs. Picard. I heard her in the background there.
She loves it when you're on because I shut up for 3 hours.
She was telling me how lovely I looked. It sounded like she said, "Doesn't he look handsome on the screen there?"
Oh, like that, yeah.
tell him to shut up. It's Saturday afternoon. Fuck's sake. Right, hang on, people. Good call, Picard. Loki La bought 3 futures. Happy to see you here. Oi, Scrubs. Loki La, I hope you're well. You'll get your video later. Humans, bought a future. I love these kind of streams, Chris. Thank you. Thank you, Humans, and thank you, Loki La. I'll tell you what, I'm going to be brutally honest. Thank you for those donations, and thank you to everyone who's donated tonight. You're saving my skin, really. You want to thank John Palmer. AMS has made a donation. Should do more videos like that. Very eloquent. A few people have said that. You mean the scripted one? It is a lot of work for me. Vahi felt under pressure as the donations came flooding in. Look, he had to ask his missus. He was down on his knees. Please, 400 Thai baht. I'm going to go and get myself a lady. Well, a toe anyway. Thank you, Ray, you beautiful bastard. Right to that. Thank you, AMS. Yeah, all right. I might. I mean, the thing is, at the moment, I'm meant to be having less screen time, and that means more, doesn't it? But I will be taking a break from writing once this manuscript's finished, but only for a few weeks because I want to get another novel out. Now I know I can write commercial novels in 7 weeks. I want to get 3 or 4 out this week. This week? This year. Get the old print, publish, repeat on the go. But that was very kind of you, Loki La, Humans, AMS, and Mr. Vahey. The person to thank, Humans, I mean, you don't have to, obviously, but would be John Palmer, because John Palmer when I done that reaction the other week, a live reaction, he absolutely loved it, and he gave a donation, and he said, "This is excellent. Do more like this." And I realised that because I've been writing a novel, because work is really demanding at the moment, I haven't had the energy to do what I've done for 10 years, and I'm older now, and just do a 2.5 hour improv stream, which like I used to, just telling stories, fucking about. I haven't had the energy for it. And so they sort of went downhill a little bit. But when I done that first live reaction, and I got very passionate about it, JP said to me, he said, "This is excellent. Do more like this." And I have. That's what I've done. I've done 3 of them, I think, since then. So, yeah, I think it's a good thing to do. You know, I couldn't have improvised 2.5 hours, well, nearly 3 hours now today, because I just haven't got the energy. You know, I've actually written 120,000 words of that novel. Every time I've got to not, every time I try and edit it, I write more, but it's really stupid because it's going to take longer and longer. And I've done so much marketing, and if I don't get it out on time, that marketing, which is now simmering, I said this at the beginning, will boil over and people will forget it. And I've already got it all going. It has to come out in November, ideally the first week of November as well. I'm so tempted to show you my cover. Oh, Anglo, they're the best, man. Incredible people. That's very kind of you. We are in deep trouble, says you're a young man. I may be, but I got 2 YouTube channels, a full-time job that I'm the boss of. I write, occasionally eat, occasionally sleep. You know, I do a lot, and it wears me out. It wears me out. And if I could be who you wanted, if I could be who you wanted.
Good night, everyone.
One more time. What'd you say rather rudely there, Packer?
I said good night, everyone.
That was the end music. Go on, right, Packer, let's get back to Shilling 42 stream.
Yeah, so the England Day poem will be premiered to Almac's lovely music. Along the same lines of
does everyone know what that is? Has 42 talked about it on his stream? I mean, I know what it is because I'm
England Day. I believe he has, yes. And obviously, if you really want to know all about it, best thing you'll be doing is turning up tonight at 10:30 on 42's YouTube channel.
I'll tell you what, that was a stroke of luck.
You're invited.
Now I know why he sent me about 10 emails this week telling me that he's streaming at my usual time tonight. Well, lucky I done an early doors then. 42's made a song, people, and it's fucking brilliant. I've told them to put captions on it. I hope they have. You're missing a trick, 42, if you haven't. There's loads of these patriotic songs being made at the moment. I've seen about 8 of them. You know, just songs to sort of motivate and what's the word I'm looking for, Packer? Embolden. And, you know, and what's the other one? Come on, chat, help us out. A word that sort of means to get you going and get you. Well, embolden to do. I'll think of it in a minute. Incentivize is sort of one, but not the one.
England Day said play it, please.
Inspire. Nah, that's 42's. That's his, what do you call it when it's first time?
Virginity?
That's no.
Cherry.
Oh, fuck off, Packer. Anyway, 10:30, you'll hear it. But all the other ones I've seen are captioned. Simply because, as we all know, music it's hard to hear the lyrics in a lot of songs. It is. Not because it's been badly produced or anything, but the voice doesn't carry so well over drums, bass, guitars, and keyboards and things. So I think the lyrics are so good, it should be captioned. And it's a cracking video as well. Right, anyway.
There's quite a few scrubs on it. Dottie's on there. Did you know that?
England Day is 42. There you go.
Yeah.
Why don't we get... Why don't you come on quickly and talk about it, 42? Do you want to do that? Do you want to shill it for a bit in person? Encourage? None of them have hit the mark so far. Nice one, Jedi.
I'm having cuddles, love. With my big books of secrets and fame.
But either way, all the ones I've seen have been very much... they've been captioned. Zeitgeist has been on the firm for 55 months. It's been longer than that. Good call, Zeitgeist. It's been longer than that. Come on. We all know that. Can't believe I've been streaming for 3 hours, because usually at this point it's approaching 3 o'clock in the morning and I know I've got to do a lot of writing. But I've just looked at the clock and it's 11:30 my time. It's lovely, lovely. I can get a movie in before I write. Lovely. Oh, yeah, I'll tell you what I watched yesterday. I've seen it before, obviously. Scarface. What a really sad film that is. I watched it from a different angle, so to speak, figuratively. I didn't sort of do an headstand or anything. It's a really sad film. I never saw it like that. I think I watched it first when I was very young, and you know, you just think he's funny because he, look at my little friend. How are you, man? I love the way they say that. You okay, man? Oh, okay, man. What you fucking think of fucking seeing me, man? But I watched it yesterday and just thought it's a real tragedy. I know that's not the most in-depth film critique. You're here all year.
He says, drop the link, Chris. He'll come on.
All right. I will do that. Can you and 42 have a little chat as soon as I get him in, because I need a piss so badly. Wait, Mousecat, I'll tell you I haven't spoken to. I've spoken to via email, but your missus in a long time. I hope I haven't upset her or something. But I know the pair of you are busy. We've had a couple of emails, haven't we, Mousecat? I won't dox your plans, but so proud of you, man.
I don't know.
Now, hello, Linda, darling. Yeah, that's what I hoped, Mousecat. Send her, my love. And fair play to you, man. Fair play. It's going to be fine. I mean, I'm doing something similar myself, and it you know, it's you have to do things. If you do things, you live. Like Chris Thrall always says, if you live one, you only get one life, but if you live it right, it's all you need. Where's that 42? Mate, I'm going to wee myself in a minute, and I don't think Packer can let you in. Here he is. Right, you two don't start talking about it yet, 42. Just have a chat with Packer. I'll be back from the pizza in a minute.
Mr. Packer, what about you, chum?
All right, fella.
All good.
Don't pretend you knew what that meant, Packer.
I understand you fully, 42. Don't worry about it.
I'll actually break that down for you. What about you, chum? Is what about you, chum? All rolled into one word.
How are you, mate?
Now, the shorter version of that is about you, which is, and that is how people in Belfast say hello. And the correct answer to that is sticking out about yourself, which means sticking out means you're doing very good. So sticking out about yourself is how you doing also. Or you go crash course in how to speak Belfast.
Well, I should last at least 3 seconds in Belfast then.
Yeah, it's a fuck. I remember Club Sound were a group of people went around pubs and clubs and they did shows and stuff, and they had an album, and one of the tracks was How to Speak Ulster, and it was about soldiers coming over to Belfast, and they got an expert in to explain to them the local language, but they couldn't understand the fucking word he said either. It was all full of that. It was, hello, what about you? Or what about you? Hello. Sticking out, how's yourself, big lad? I'm doing fine. How are you? Go on, you piggy. You and your armored car may pass. He couldn't pull a skinny or rice pudding. He is a very weak fellow. Yeah, that was quite funny.
What else are you doing on show tonight? We're just going to shill the song.
Yes, we are going to shill the song. Steve O'Neill's from Strabane, and he's grand, which is another approved answer. Grand. And another common one is average. A lot of people will give you average. So there you go.
Yeah, I'll get fair to middling.
Fair to middling, yep.
42.
What about you, Chris?
Have you put captions on that video?
No.
Oh
Yes.
man.
Oh, Chris, have you studied the Invisible Gorilla sketch? The Invisible Gorilla and the attention deficit syndrome?
Hang on a minute. Anglo-Saxon. Yeah, of course, man. For sure, I've seen that. Say that. Yes, I have. Yeah.
And you do know that anybody who either gets people do one of two things: they get the number of passes correct, or they see the gorilla.
Yeah.
Right, because there's too much going on in that screen for the person to concentrate fully. Now,
let me tell you why people who make shorts put captions on them.
Yeah.
For the exact reason you just told me.
Yeah.
So what do they do? They watch it twice.
Yes. Or 3 times or 4 times.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. But here's the thing. The CC button on YouTube, I've watched it through on the video, and it does track it correctly. So if people want...
Okay, all right. I was going to ask you that. There's bits where you've doubled up vocals where I couldn't understand a word of it. And because you sent me the lyrics beforehand, I just thought it was a terrible shame to lose them. And this isn't me getting on out. This is just vocals in pop music.
Chris, trust me, this is good. It's good to have debate about this, and Al and I have thrashed this out as well. The other thing is, all of the lyrics are in the description.
Oh, okay. There you go. That's fair enough. And if the YouTube auto captions work, that's fine. There you go. No dramas.
Yeah.
And if, like you say, if they're in the description, that's also sorted. No problem. So 10:30 tonight.
10:30 tonight. We have had quite the thoughting and contemplations about exactly what way to go about this, and I believe that the captions on the screen make it too difficult for you to both watch the video and listen to the music.
Okay.
Well, the other thing is, see the people that are doing shorts, their only concern is that people click on the link, start, middle, and end. My concern is that the message travels.
No, the reason you put captions on shorts is so that people watch it twice, because they'll watch it once and they'll read the captions and then they'll watch it again and ignore the captions. So they get twice as much airtime and they get twice as much YouTube money, because it's twice as much advertising time. But I'm kind of with you. I would have put captions on it, but it's not my project, so I'll shut up. Hang on, I've got someone calling me. I'm going to have to tell him I'm busy. I never answer his calls, but being able to tell him I'm busy is good. Oh, I'm streaming. Hello, I'm streaming right now. You've rung me by accident, you dirty bastard. Jesus. Probably ring again in a minute. All right, carry on as you were.
Yeah. So I do take your point on board. It is very valid, but I think the way to go is without the captions, and if people want them, they can use the CC.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
There's possibly, I think out of the whole thing, there's 3 words that the YouTube thing hasn't got correct. It's not an issue. They had an issue with Magna Carta, but I think it's not a usual word. But everybody's going to catch that because the way you do that bit comes through fucking perfect.
Yeah, my bit's clear as day, isn't it?
It's not only is it clear as day, but it's the right accent for that part, and it comes in at the right time of the song. It just fucking works.
I give it my all. If it was an honor to be asked to do it, so I give it 100 takes, and I thought that's the one.
Yeah.
Well, one take, but it's still take 2 zeros off. It's still one, isn't it?
The other thing that Al and I thrashed back and forward about quite a bit was I wanted my voice taken right out of it. I'll tell you why. This needs to be an English thing for English people, and an Ulster voice doesn't really help. However, my voice has been limited to where I'm asking questions about the English and not saying I am the English. And we were very careful about that.
Ray Vahi isn't surprised that YouTube has an issue with Magna Carta.
Yeah.
Right, all right, what time is that? Hang on a minute. Mouse Cat dropped an Ayrton Senna, and this is what he reckons. He says, went out and landed a job last week, a really good job that pays real nice. Was great educating myself, but an opportunity arose, so I took it. Hang on a minute. The cryptic element has left his missus, and it's all over Mousecat. I know, right? I know what he means, right? So he's been telling me he's. I don't know how much I can say, Mousecat, but he's meant to be doing something that his missus wants him to do. I know that much. But instead of doing that, he's been reading loads of philosophy. I mean, I never thought I'd be talking Foucault and Derrida with Mousecat, but it's rather nice to. But so he, on the sly, he's pretending to do what she thinks he's doing, and he's been doing that. But he's obviously got a nice job with a nice bit of filthy lucre, so he's done that instead. Nice one, Mousecat. A Prasha Kanatu, and good for you. Just get the staff to do it and continue to educate yourself.
Now, the question is, are we going to put these people out of their misery? And I'll share my screen and you can play it with going through YouTube and the compressions.
I think you should do it on your show.
Right, okay. It's already been leaked on Dave Waffles.
Leaked? Amazing.
Oh, fuck that. And it's currently it's currently been leaked out to a couple of other places that are getting sneak previews.
I'll tell you why 42. Look how many people are here. It's an odd time for me to stream. There's 66 people here. I'll do a stream with Dan or something when there's like 250 people here, and then I'll play it. I'll try and I'll see if I can get a guest on that pulls numbers in within the next week. So, you know, not like 6 months down the line. And then I'll play it, and then it will get more reach.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
I would imagine everyone here at the moment will probably be at yours later or has already heard it on Dave's Waffle House. That's the only reason. Yeah. All right. Well, so 10:30 at your channel. Yep. Packer, can you put not Toffees? Can you put 42's channel link in the comment, in the private comments, and then I can cut and paste it into the chat?
I will give it my best shot.
All right, 42. I will 10:30 UK time. I may still be awake. If I am, I'll say hello. And good luck with it.
Yep, I'll send you a link. I honestly don't expect you to be there because it's a really weird time. But if you want to,
I'll be up. I'll be up writing. 4 or 5 in the morning. I think that's when it will be about then. 10:30, you say?
Yep. Yes.
1, 2, 3. It's only 4 a.m. I might be awake.
Yeah. The other thing is, this is really weird because if I want to speak to you, or if I want to speak to the Scrubs, I come to your gaff because that's the natural order of things. Inviting you on is really fucking weird, but there you go.
Don't forget, people. 42 once said, "Don't donate to him." He does. He's got.
That's another thing. Please, I do not take donations. I do what I do. It's about getting my voice out, and it's about getting England Day's voice out. And however, Chris runs a YouTube channel, and it's not explicitly politically one. It's one. And please, if you have ever thought about donating to me, send it to Chris. Please.
You've got to love that kind of scrubbage. You absolutely got to. I'll try and stay up for it, and I might see you later.
All right. Thanks very much.
Yeah, I'll put the link in the chat in a minute so people know.
Brilliant. Thank you. All right.
Yeah. Look after yourself, brother.
Yes. All right. Bye.
Ta-da! How exciting! Have you heard it, Packer?
Yeah. Of course I have. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm on it and all. Look at you. I'm in the inner circle. Can you have you done it already?
No, I can't get it, mate. I'm useless. Sorry, but it's.
I don't know how to do it. I don't know how to find it. It's an hard channel to find. Hang on, sorry, people. It's all gone terribly wrong at the end. But it is over 3 hours against medical advice.
Hang on.
Right, here we go. 42. Search, add filters.
Hang on, I got you.
Maybe if I just go down to my subscriptions. There's so many of them, though. How are you meant to find? Yeah, I've got it. I found it. Look at that. I found it in my subscriptions. Yeah. Right, is it already set up as live? No,
it's just to his channel.
Right, well, look, here we go, people. How do you home featured? Well, look, that's his channel anyway. There you go, people. There is. I'm just putting his. Oh fuck, Mousecat. Thanks for that donation, mate. What fair play on getting that job. That's an extra bit of lucre, isn't it? What was I just going to say? Thank you, 42, for telling people you don't take money out of principle, so give it to me because I do take money out of principle. You know what I keep forgetting? Every time we do these damn streams, I keep forgetting all this lot. What do you make of that one, Packer?
Oh, that
one. It's ridiculous. You can load up your own ones, so I'm gonna have to start sampling people so we can have 42 going, hello, the hard head and the hard head about I tell you what, if that isn't the same, right, there's a Mahavishnu Orchestra song, Birds of Fire. Probably, well, definitely one of their best songs. And I reckon that is the same gong. Now, let's see how bad my memory has remembered it. Right, hang on. I might get yeeted, but I'm only going to play the gong. So listen to the gong from the start of Birds of Fire and try and keep it in your memory. Right, ready? So it's the first bit, ready? It plays it a couple of times. Did you hear it? And here's their one. Oh, it's a bit longer, isn't it? Should we hear a bit of Birds of Fire, though, because it's amazing. Check this out, man. Billy Cobham on drums, Shankar on 5-string, violin, John McLaughlin on guitar. Who's playing bass on this? Who plays bass in Mahavishnu Orchestra? It might be Jan Hammer, actually, on a keyboard. Just listen to Billy Cobham when this drumming kicks in. Wow. Here we go. Woo! Check out John McLaughlin's intro guitar. Here we go. Wow. God, what a band. Right, Picard, I'll let you go. People, it's all over.
Oh, shit. Not like that one.
I'm only a lowly lad. Oh, Plum Bob dropped to 5 spot. Oi, check this out, people. Not only has Plum Bob dropped to 5 spot, Plum Bob is doing some marketing for me for the new novel. I think you're the same geezer. You are, aren't you? I offered him a few quid. He said he'll do it for free. Big mistake. I'm not that bloke that says, no, I'll give you a few quid. No, all right then. No, of course I will. What I'll probably get you, which you'll probably prefer, is a free dinner somewhere really nice, because I can sort that out without costing me anything. Let's have a look at Plum Bob's donation. It's only fair. He says this. Cheers, Chris. There you go. I'll give it some visual effects. Yeah, look. Cheers, Chris. Cheers, Chris. Lady Godiva. Plum Bob, Plum Bob, Plum Bob. But much Aprasha Kanatu on that, Plum Bob, and much Aprasha TT on the helping out with the market in Soho and Covent Garden. That'll be great. And I'll get you a nice dinner. I might even be able to get you a nice dinner with a beautiful woman. One of my exes. I tell you what, absolutely stunning. Fucking like cannons as well. Good Lord, she's something else. Oh, you've seen them, haven't you? I've played videos of her picking locks. Anyway, 42s link. I'll put it in the chat a few times, people. Get a... what's going on here? Get hold of that, and you're going to hear the song tonight. And I think you'll be very impressed. 10:30 UK time. Packer, I'm going to let you go, mate. I'll see you in a few minutes if you're up for it.
Nice one. Thanks for having me. Cheers, Scrubs.
It's always a pleasure. The pleasure is mine. Ta-da! Show Packer some love in the chat, people. I've lost the ability to stream without him here. Look, do you want to see the truth of my green screen? Look. Isn't it weird how reality suddenly goes, hey, look, it's just still me in my room. But if I go like that, but Packer saw me sitting here for about 10 minutes trying to get rid of that. And that's all I had to do. That'll do. Anyway, I've got a bit of music for you. I want to thank Packer. Show him some love in the chat, people. He sat there for over 3 hours and probably said about one word every 30 minutes. It probably works out. And if he weren't there, I would have struggled. Weird how things turn out, isn't it? I want to thank everyone who donated. I want to thank all you lot for listening, taking part, engaging, chipping in your tuppence worth of thoughts on what I'm spouting. I love this stream, and it's an absolute privilege to be part of the Scrub community. Here's a bit of music for you. I will be putting your messages on the screen as the music plays. You might recognize the music. And I might see it. Well, it's Sunday tomorrow, isn't it? I might do another early doors tomorrow. Break up the writing a bit. Although if I'm up all night, who knows? Keep an eye out. I might do a Discord. That's members only, though. But if you're a member, keep an eye out. Make sure you've got your notifications sorted. Anyway, here's a bit of music. See you later. Much later. Ta-ta.
All the world loves a lover. All the girls in every land are meant to know. The joy of loving is to live in the world of mankind. There's a someone who's waiting for you. Soon the world will be yours for a toy. Music starts to play, night will turn to day. Darkness disappears when the one you love is near. You're in mankind. All the world loves the lovers, all the girls in every land are meant to know. Joy of loving is to live in the world of mankind. There's a place that is waiting for you, a world where the best in life is free, where time is always spring, happiness is king. The dreams you dream come true when the one you love loves you. You're in mankind. All the world loves a lover. All the girls in every land are meant to know. Joy of loving is to live in the world of mankind.
And And that was Lovers of the World by Jerry Wallace. Coming up next is a 90s classic from the band Household, featuring Chris Dangerfield and Paul Mumford. This one's called Milk. It's kind of like a postmodern oddity, but the people like it, so I shall play it. Zeitgeist, you've been very generous tonight as well. That deserves a mention. Thank you. As is everyone. Don't know what as is everyone means, but there you go. Here we go. Check out this madness. Cheers, back up.
Strand lies, bang bangs about us. Be up, be young, good, good deserves now life. The last, the final, sweet glad final surround us. Still knee deep and wet, knee deep and wet. Carbon encrusted, mercenary trusted, a fastening vice from Tangier to Metis. A lot, longing, forgotten, infested. A bleak solid air between us tested. The alleyway laughs at time and half. Time and half. Splash, you can't come down now. You wouldn't want to spy. Secret, immediate, amoeba, hilarious sheen means the sun stops whining, whining. Thatched roofs, the holes of many spiders. Smile so wide, we look inside her. The need for me. The need for me. The need for me. The arch bends, bows, pull strings, pulling things to mark time, arbitrary, sublime, weak of random swine. Best leave now, dear bees above the historical rub. This newfound embalming, new farming gold. This winter shade of hazy off brown knackers me. A girl I once knew nothing. A rupture suggests we better be as nothing so less than outburst in slow devotion. Slow devotion. As old rock dissolves, a shining example of love, and the need for milk. The need for milk. The need for milk. Of chemical shoals that all sure withdrawals. Sensitive and get a clipping. Slip you kid, it won't feel nothing but the need for milk. The need for milk.
Jim at the end goes because there used to be another verse. Yeah. There was a couple of things I wanted to say. I assume Dave's Waffle House is on later. Give me a nod, Packer, if that's likely. It's not. He doesn't do a Saturday nighter. Did he do one yesterday? Yeah. Okay. So if you've got a time machine, I started writing a short story about having a time machine earlier in this week, and this is how far I got. I built a time machine. It was shit. And then I just thought, this ain't going anywhere. I've got so many stories. I might actually, because I haven't put a short up on Substack for so long because of this fucking manuscript I'm working on, I might put all my non-starters up because Substack saves them. I've got some brilliant non-starters where halfway through I start talking to myself going, what, you're really going to pretend this is a story? And they're just nothing. Like that, I built a time machine. It's shit. I wrote one about seeing a crow, but it turned out to be car parts and a bit of an old bin bag. But then later, I saw some old car parts and a bin bag flying, and I thought, oh, this is going to be brilliant. And I sat there for about an hour going, and then stopped. It's time for me to go, people. I'm just going to check entropy in case I missed any over there. And on stories, people deserve their moment in the sun. No, we're all good. All right, people, look, take care. Hang on. Still working on this money-making book. I've got the 800-page one that ain't going to make money until I'm an established author, which these new commercial novels... See, these new commercial ones, I can write a series of them because it's a journal of a 14-year-old. And then I can do him as a 16-year-old, then an 18-year-old. I think it's going to do really well because I wouldn't have bothered writing it otherwise. Yeah, but my missus is away. So that's what I'll be doing right now. I will watch a movie and then I'll start writing. It's now midnight. And I'll probably stop writing about 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And then tomorrow I'll be writing all day until my eye explodes again. And then I go back to the doctors and he go, I told you, you fucking idiot. Ta-da.